All right, we're live.
There
Welcome
we go.
everybody to UFC 262 full card breakdown, going through the whole card top to bottom. And I am once again joined by Gordo Gambles.
Thank you for having me,
What's
my
going on,
friend.
man? You ready for the start? Yeah, no
Oh,
problem.
I'm excited for
excited
it.
to break down some fights. Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Got the fans.
crowd's
Should be
back.
fun.
Hey, bro, you're on the same page.
Should be awesome. All right, so we'll get right into it. We'll start with the first fight of the night at lightweight. We got Christos Giagos taking on Sean Soriano. So Christos, 31 years old, 5'10", 71-inch reach. He's 18-8, 7 by knockout, 8 by decision, 3 by submission. He's been KO'd once, subbed 4 times, lost by decision 3 times. And he is 4-4 in the UFC. He got cut after he went 1-2, I think it was at his first stint, and now he's back and he's looking a little bit better in my opinion. And then you got Sean Soriano, who's another guy that's coming back. He went, I think it was like 0-3 in his first stint, and he's stringed together some wins. He fought recently too. I think it was March 20th. So he's back. He's 31, 5'9", 70-inch reach, so very similar. He's got 7 knockouts, 4 subs, 3 decisions. He's been submitted 4 times, knocked out once, lost by decision once, and he is currently running a 3-fight win streak. So I'll let you kick this off, man. What do you think about this fight? How do you see it going? And got any spots on this fight?
The biggest thing that popped out to me when I was looking this over is Soriano's got 3 losses by rear naked choke, right? And we know Giagos is playing. He's going to wrestle him. He's going to sit on him. He's going to try to – he gets sloppy in those transitions, but he's going to try his best to get that back. And I don't think it's the best spot for Soriano in his return fight, because I know he's coming back for second stint here in the UFC, but I don't think this is his matchup here. He's facing a guy in Giagos who is going to take him down. He's going to wrestle him. He's going to – and whereas Giagos isn't the most elite wrestler in there, it's something that Soriano doesn't like. Like he will try to throw a takedown of his own when he's pressured, but Giagos is the much better wrestler, and when he wants to wrestle, he will. He'll get you down to the cage, set up a bunch of takedowns, and he'll get you to the ground. He'll do it. Now, his control is not great. He advances positions, and it does cost him some time, but he's got a good chin, and as soon as something gets back up, he'll go right back at it again. He sets it up with a big overhand right, and that's where he likes it. He likes it down to the mat. Now, another big thing that jumped out is Giagos has horrible cardio, in my opinion. And we talk about cardio all the time. That was a big factor in last week as well, but he's not the best cardio. And I didn't see that in Soriano. So it's one of those things where a third round finish from Soriano is not unlikely. What do you think?
Yeah, man, you hit the nail on the head. I agree with you. I think the line is about right, maybe a bit wide, because it's just like Giagos is like, he should win. He's got the wrestling, obviously. Soriano's like his submission defense, his on ground awareness, I feel is poor at times, right? Like he's obviously lost 4 times by submission, and that's where Giagos wants to take the fight. But yeah, you touched on it. Like Giagos, he gasses, man, for sure. Like that third round will definitely get dicey. To me, this is just a complete pass. Like I'm really not interested at all in this fight from a betting perspective. I think Giagos could get a lot of control time if he holds him down. And both guys have looked pretty decent recently. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough to pick Soriano here. I think he could be alive. I think he might be the better striker. But I think he's going to have to fight off his back a lot, and he's just not on the mat. He's not as good as I would like. But again, what is it? Giagos is like minus like 210 range, something like that. It's not interesting to me. So for me, it's a pass.
If you're a Giagos bettor, you're gonna look really good. Oh, don't get us started with that right away. But if you're a Giagos bettor, you're gonna look great in the first half, right? It could be done in the first round, because the way Sean Soriano gets up is he gives his opponents the back. Yeah, every single time, and that could end horribly. We know Giagos isn't the best in those transitions, but all it takes is one back take, and the fight's over.
For sure.
But again, if you're holding that minus 220 ticket or minus 210 or whatever it is, and you get to that third round, you are going to be sweating, because he gives it his all. Giagos gives it all. He goes in for those takedowns. He gets the most of the time, but if Soriano can survive that round 1, first half of round 2 onslaught, he's going to have a much better time in round 3 taking care of someone who's not the same person as he was in round 1 in Giagos.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think a finish could be on the table here, but personally, I think Giagos probably just stays safe to a decision, wins a 29-28. Third round might get a little bit dicey, but just a lower level type fight. Hopefully short. Hopefully Soriano can impress coming back and get his first UFC win. But yeah, for me, it's a pass. You think Giagos could score relatively high on DraftKings because of the control time if he gets a finish?
He could, and the thing about him is he's a chain wrestler too. If he doesn't get the first one and the guy gets right back up, he'll go right back at it, right?
Yeah.
And every single takedown or mat return, you get 5 points. So if they accumulate, you're going to get a lot of points. But this is a week where we're not struggling to find value. You can make like 20 lineups, all with 300 salary, 3,000 salary remaining, and have no problem with it. So this is a fight where I don't know if you want to target it because you want fighters who are able to give it your all and almost guarantee you a finish, right? We're looking at good fights, just like the Wright Pickett one. We want them there. We're going to get a finish in the Chandler Oliveira fight, want something there. And this one, I'm not sure there's going to be a finish. If Giagos gets it done round one, of course he's going to score big, but I don't know if I want to risk everything. So I'm going to only have him owned I'm going to say 40% Giagos, 15% Soriano on this one because I'm not looking for value. I don't need that underdog, right? So yeah. I think Giagos grinds it out, gets a decision. The question for you, though, is the crowd coming back going to affect the amounts of fights they're finishing tonight?
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. So we will get on to the next fight. So just a fight, honestly, guys, probably just like sit back, enjoy the first fight of the night, hope for some violence with the fans. Personally, I don't think there's some decent value on this card, so I think this is a fight you stay away from, personally. All right, so we'll go to the next one. Moving on, we got Kevin Aguilar taking on Tucker Lutz in this one. So Kevin Aguilar is 32 years old, 5'7", 155-pounder as well. So this is taking place at lightweight, I believe. Yeah. 73-inch reach. He has got a record of, I think it was 17-4. He's 2-3 in the UFC. He's currently on a 3-fight losing streak. And he's taking on Tucker Lutz, who is a contender series guy. He didn't get in his first contender series fight, and then he got in his second one, but he actually didn't get a finish in either of them. But Lutz is 26 years old here, 5'8", 72-inch reach. So again, another fight where they're relatively similar body in terms of size. He's 11-1 on an 11-fight win streak right now, obviously making his UFC debut. And personally, I think, again, this is another fight that I feel is definitely a pass from my perspective because, I'm definitely not – I think Lutz is a decent fighter, but personally, again, I think the line is about right. I think it could really go either way because, Aguilar, he's not bad. He brings decent skills to the table, and if we look at his last 3 L's, they just haven't been that promising. I also want to see him on the scales, for sure, because I feel like he hasn't looked in the greatest shape recently. But yeah, if we look at his fights, the Rosa fight is just really, really not a good look. I think he got hurt in that fight. And you don't want to be getting hurt by a guy like Charles Rosa, who really isn't a power puncher. He obviously got knocked out by Zubaira, who is okay, I guess. And then obviously the loss to Ige. But yeah, I think I favor Lutz in this fight personally. I've been kind of flipping back and forth, but from what I've seen, I think Lutz is decent, but I'm just not willing to take a shot on the contender series boy, especially since he couldn't get a finish. And he kind of just, in that third round, especially the last one, he kind of just laid on top of him. And that just shows to me that, you had a previous fight. You didn't get the contract because you won a decision. And then in the third round, he just looked like he was coasting. So to me, that's probably either a cardio issue or he just doesn't have that will to want to go finish the fight, which could get dicey at times. But I think he's a decent fighter. He's got good hands. He's got good hands. He's got decent wrestling as well. But yeah, I'm gonna favor Lutz here, but it's a pass for me. What about you?
There we go. I'm a gangster on this one. I think it's Aguilar all day. See, this fight's actually happening at featherweight. I didn't want to cut you off there, but it is going to happen at featherweight 145.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I think that this line is completely just based on the fact that Aguilar didn't look good against Rosa. I don't think that the fight versus Rosa really shows what kind of fighter he was, because this man tore up the LFA scene. Like, LFA was his stomping ground, and I think he's a lot better than his last performance showed. Right? I'm not a huge fan of Lutz. I don't think he's got what it takes to really excel in the UFC. He's well rounded, and I hope he brings a good fight. But Aguilar, I think, is someone that hasn't had the best luck in terms of opponents. Now, the Rosa fight, that's his mistake. I get it. Where am I going with this? I'm pretty much saying that I think that Rosa fight was a one-off. I think he's a lot better than that shows. He's got great boxing. I think he's got great takedown defense as well. And I think it'd be really hard for Lutz to be able to sit on him in the third round like he did that Contender Series. Right? He works well in the pocket. He's got good leg kicks as well. And he's just an all-around, I think, a better fighter than Tucker Lutz is. Will I play it in a bet? No, I wouldn't, because you don't know what version of him showing up. Like you said, the weigh-ins will tell us a lot. But I'm not that high on Lutz. I don't think his technique is fully there. I don't think his level of competition helps him that much either. But I think that Aguilar's going to get done, probably a decision. But it's going to come down largely to the weigh-ins to tell me what I see from him.
Yeah, I agree. I think if he comes in the weigh-ins looking in good shape, then he probably has a really good chance to get it done here. I mean, again, I think it's really close. I think you could go either way. I don't have a strong read either side. Definitely not betting it. And not really high on either of these guys. So I guess we'll just see what happens, honestly. But another fight yeah, you go.
I was looking for plus 110. That was my line. I would have bet Kevin Aguilar plus 110. I don't think we have it there yet. But again, he is coming down a weight class. So is Lutz, but I think Lutz is going to make it a bit easier than Aguilar is. Yeah, haven't got that yet. So I'm going to stay away from it. I lean Aguilar. I think he's just better all around, better level of competition, better skill set, and I just hope he implements it. I'm looking for a good fight. No bet on this one, but it's 2 fights in a row. I hope there's some action in it.
Agreed. Okay. Finally, a disagreement. Small one, but we definitely, I know we've got some coming up later on the card. That should be fun to talk about. All right, so we'll move on to the next fight here. We got Gina Mazany versus Priscilla Cachoeira taking place at flyweight. So we got Mazany, who is 32 years old, 5'6", with a 68-inch reach. She has 3 wins by knockout, 2 wins by submission, 2 wins by decision. She's been knocked out twice, subbed once, lost by decision once. And she is 2-4 in the UFC, 7-4 overall, riding a 1-fight winning streak over Rachel Ostovich. And then we have Priscilla Cachoeira on the other side, who is also 32 years old, 5'7", 65-inch reach. So she's she's 1 inch taller, but 3-inch reach disadvantage. She's got 5 knockouts, 4 decisions, and she's been KO'd, subbed, and lost by decision all once. So she is 9-3, and she is 1-3 in the UFC. 1-3 in the UFC, running a 1-fight win streak. So I know you got some action on this fight. What you got?
Well, first off, can we address the fact that we have the largest favorite on the card, well, before Soriano, was Gina Mazany, right? I just think that's something that is a bit crazy. Anyways, my bet is not a Cachoeira, not a Mazany directly, but I'm on the under in this fight. We've seen Gina Mazany has the tools to get it done. She's a great wrestler. I think she can control Cachoeira on the ground dominantly. And I think if she implements that properly, she will look like the minus 200 favorite that she is.
For sure.
I think she has the tools to put her away. I know Cachoeira is super, super, super tough. But I think Mazany going out there, I think she can put her away. But the biggest reason I took this under is that she hates getting hit. Mazany does not do well to pressure. She does not like being... She doesn't like being pressured, or even one shot, she'll just turtle up. And Cachoeira is really live for a KO here. I know you're looking at that as well. What do you think?
Yeah, man. I agree. Like, Mazany as the biggest favorite on the card is saying something. Anybody who's holding a Mazany minus like 210, 220 ticket, or has her in a parlay, like, I wish you the best of luck. But like Gina Mazany, like, she's okay. Like, I can see the line, because she definitely has like the minus 200 upside. If she uses that wrestling, she gets her down. And we have seen Priscilla controlled on the ground. Yet again, it's Valentina Shevchenko, so I don't really take too much from that. But yeah, she's got decent feints. She gets lots of takedowns, high accuracy. She's got good top control, good transitions. But yeah, I like your under, because to me, she seems like she's either finishing or she's getting finished. You know, like you said, only 3 of her 11 fights have actually gone to the scorecards. And yeah, I'm actually on Cachoeira by KO, small quarter unit shot plus 600. I just think that line's way off. Cachoeira is plus like 175 on most books around, I think, right now. And she's not going to get a submission here. She's never scored a submission. I don't think she's going to get a decision because I feel like she is probably going to spend some time in bottom. If she wings these like large punches, like long swinging punches at her, then she's not going to really like. That's not really like a. She's probably going to miss a lot, so she's probably not going to like score very well in terms of the judges. But yeah, I think the KO is plus 600 is definitely live. Like she knocked out Shauna Dobson with basically the first punch. Yes, Shauna Dobson's not very good, but just the fact that she has the power to put a girl like that in 40 seconds is very good. And you look at her losses, like Valentina Shevchenko, I'll give her a pass. And the Molly McCann fight, like she was hitting Molly with some pretty big shots. She hurt Molly a couple times. She really wrecked her face, and I just feel like Molly was more. Like you touched upon it. Like Mazany does not like to get hit. Like she gets like if you look at the Julia Avila fight for Mazany, yes, you can say Julia Avila is much better than Priscilla Cachoeira is. I agree, but was there really a lot of technique in that? No, she rushed her, hit her with a bunch of punches, and she curled up and she basically just quit. You know, she doesn't like being hit. She doesn't. It's not even that she's chinny. She just doesn't like taking punishment. She can't take it. Right? She can't take it. But so yeah, I'm on the Cachoeira side. I don't think playing Cachoeira plus 175 is any value because I feel like her path to victory is a KO here. Do I think she's going to win the fight? No, I think Mazany probably controls the fight on the ground. But it's Gina Mazany. Like she's low level. She's not that good. And she doesn't like to be hit. And Cachoeira, you know, her nickname is Zombie Girl for a reason. She will walk you down. She will throw huge, super heavy. She has a brawling type style. She's got a big right hand. Good low kick, super tough. You know, I'd like to see her maybe cut off the cage a bit more. Like she just like chases her opponents. But again, Gina Mazany is not a girl that's gonna like stay on the outside and pick her apart. You know, Gina Mazany is not very good on the feet whatsoever. I don't think. And Cachoeira is strong, so I feel like she's gonna be kind of difficult to hold down. I feel like she definitely can get taken down, but you know, she's pretty strong. I don't feel like Mazany is gonna be able to take her down with will and just control her. Like we haven't really seen. Like Mazany likes to keep pressure on you, but I feel like her takedown stats are very inflated because of the Rachel Ostovich fight. Rachel Ostovich has relatively no takedown defense. She basically got every takedown. It was so easy for her. So I don't think Mazany's wrestling is super off the charts. I can see her taking Priscilla down and wearing on her, but you know, holding a plus 600 ticket for a quarter unit. On a girl that throws that hard, is she technical? No, but I know she's going to go out there and she's going to swing. And I know Mazany doesn't like getting hit. So I feel like that line's off. I took the shot. I like it personally. I think win or lose, I feel like it's not a bad spot unless Mazany just takes her down and controls her and doesn't even give her a chance to throw a punch. But I feel like it could be live. Mazany at minus 210 is I guess it can be justified, but you can't bet that. Like you can't do it. And again, I don't think Priscilla is very good at all either. So I wouldn't want to bet her plus 175. So I just took the plus 600 for a quarter unit. Don't hate the shot. And yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Well, I think Mazany has the tools. She can take her down. She can wear on her. I think that Cachoeira knows her game plan. Her game plan is to come forward and hit her on the feet. So she's going to be eager to get back up there. And I think Mazany can beat her to those transitions. And I think that both fighters having the opposite game plans will work into each other's hands, right? Either Mazany can go down for a takedown and we get a nice uppercut from Zombie Girl and just knock her out. Or in a rush to get up off her back, she can give up her back, put herself in dangerous position. And I think Mazany can actually, can actually get her out in this spot. I know she's very tough, but I think both fighters can contribute to this under, and getting plus 175 is a really good line.
Yeah.
And then if we look at the DFS side, so Mazany's the most expensive fighter we have, right? I don't think anybody is going to be playing her at, I think she's 9.3 thousand. I don't think anyone's be playing, or 9.300. So maybe this is a spot where we take a low-owned play, because we have that extra salary with all the dogs on this play. I think this fight finishes, so I'll be pretty heavily owned on either Mazany or Cachoeira. But I think that Mazany's going to be super low-owned and be a great spot for me to get some placements in those competitions, right? No one's going to have her in GPPs, and I think she still can get it done and be pretty dominant, right? Takedowns, control time, maybe even a finish. Lots of upside.
Yeah, I think the under is I think that's a decent spot. I do. I think it's a decent spot. And let's just hope Priscilla goes out there and gets a KO, so we both cash it. But yeah, low level fight. I'm hoping for a knockout like that, but to me, I'm gonna go Gina. My prediction is gonna be Mazany by decision. But definitely like the under at plus 175 you got there, and I like my spot as well. And yeah, just even is this like Cachoeira? Like, is this a Cachoeira? No, this is Gina Mazany. Sorry. So if you look at her fights, like again, like even like obviously Julia Avila, Macy Chiasson, like they're much better than Priscilla. These are decent girls, but it's just the way she got finished. It's kind of just like she gave up. And another thing that I noticed is that she's very hittable. When she goes in for the wrestling, she's hittable. She leaves her chin up there, and when she strikes, her striking defense isn't the greatest, and especially when she starts grappling, she's definitely hittable. I think the finish is there. I think one of us is cashing this. I agree. I'm gonna go Mazany by decision, but I definitely see her finishing upside paired with Priscilla's path to victory being a finish. I like the spot. I like the spot a lot.
Perfect. Glad we're in agreement.
Okay, so we will move on to the fourth fight of the night. We got Andrea Lee versus Antonina Shevchenko. So Andrea Lee, 32 years old, 5'6", 32 years old. Click on this. 32 years old, 5'6", 69-inch reach. She's 11-5, 2 knockouts, 4 submissions, and 5 decisions. She's never been knocked out, lost by submission once, and has lost 4 decisions. And she's 3-3 in the UFC. She's currently on a 3-fight losing streak, and she's taking on Antonina Shevchenko here, the lesser Shevchenko. And she's 36 years old. She's getting up there in age. She's 5'8", so she's 2 inches taller, and she's actually going to be at a 2-inch reach disadvantage. She's 9-2, 3 knockouts, 5 decisions, and a sub. She has never been finished. She's only lost by decision twice, and she's 4-2 in the UFC, currently on a 1-fight winning streak. So, yeah, I'll let you open this one. Who you got here?
All right, so we all know that Antonia is nothing like her sister. Like that's the big thing that jumps out whenever you see that name. She's got that name tax on her, right? Like minus 185. I don't think that should be where it is, because Lee's still a good fighter. She's lost her last 3, 2 of them to split, which could go either way. I know you got some strong opinions on that one, but if you would have given me this fight, like say 3 months ago before Antonia fought Lipsky, I would have been all over KGB Lee. But in that fight, I think Shevchenko actually showed a lot of improvements that she didn't show in other fights. She's actually learning from her sister. She's doing well on the ground. She's actually a decent fighter now, which is something that I didn't really think she was earlier. But you're looking at someone in Andrea Lee who's really rangy, knows how to keep at range. She's actually got some a lot of underrated aspects of her game. And I think she's a really live dog here. Like, she's lost 3 in a row, but I don't think she really did lose them that as much as the record shows, right? And if she did get one of those 2 overturned, is she a plus 145 underdog in this spot? I don't think so. She's durable. She has nice straight shots, and she ends her combination with kicks, but she does not have the best striking defense. So I get why Antonio is the favorite here, because she's Muay Thai expert, just like her sister. She'll do great in the clinch, lots of knees. But I don't know. I think that KGB Lee really does have a path to victory and shouldn't be plus 145. What do you think?
Yeah, no. If I saw this line at open, I would have definitely bet Lee. It's kind of came down now, minus 125. Antonina return on Andrea's plus 105. But yeah, the thing I find with this fight is if Andrea Lee, if Andrea Lee wins this fight, wins one of the split decision losses she had to Lauren Murphy or Joanne Calderwood, is she the underdog here? No, she's not going to be the underdog. On the feet, both girls are relatively high output. I think Shevchenko's the better striker. I would give Shevchenko the edge on the feet, but Andrea Lee also has the wrestling she can go to, right? Like, she's a pretty decent wrestler. And Antonina has been controlled on the ground before. So yeah, I don't really see how you justify Andrea Lee being the dog in this spot. I would lean her as the favorite. I'm not going to bet it only because Andrea Lee just, I like Andrea Lee. I think she's a really good fighter, but she just always finds a way to lose somehow, always, which hurts. But yeah, like being the underdog here, you touched on a good point. Obviously, the fight against Lipsky, Shevchenko looked like she was making improvements, but she's 36 years old, so we're probably seeing her like fully capped at where she is now. And I just feel on the feet, it's going to be relatively competitive. Like the reason I'm not betting is just because I feel like this is going to be another sloppy split decision. Like I didn't really jump into the tape with this one, watching all of Angela Lee's UFC fights and stuff like that, because like it's just I've seen her so much. I've studied her a bunch. She's just I think the opening line is shocking in my opinion. I don't think she should have ever opened up as a plus 145 underdog. And again, like I said, if she wins just one of those fights, never mind, because I thought she won both personally. I thought she edged both. Could have gone either way, but she's probably opening definitely as the favorite here. One for sure as the favorite. So this is another example of some recency bias in the lines. And anyone who hopped on Lee when it opened, like kudos to you. Really good line there. As of now, I don't really think you can play it. But I do think Lee on the feet can stay definitely competitive. She could win the striking exchanges. I do think Shevchenko is the better striker. But I think Lee can definitely hold her own on the feet. And if she mixes in the takedowns, gets some control time, I definitely think she can win this fight. But again, I think it's going to be a really close decision. I'm going to take Andrea Lee here. But where it is now, I don't see the value. If you want to take a shot on Lee at like I think plus 105, I don't hate it personally. But yeah, to me this is a pass. I guess from a DraftKings perspective, this is definitely going to be a pass. Considering
100% a pass. Yeah. But I'm against you on this one. I think Shevchenko is going to get the dub here. All right. I hope money keeps coming out on Lee because I would happily throw a unit on Shevchenko at plus money. I think that in a lot of Lee's fights, when she can't control someone at range, she likes to clinch up in it. And Antonia's just so much better in the clinch with her Muay Thai, from what I've seen, right? So, yes, Andrea has the tools, but you never know. Like, if your sister is the champion in the world dominantly, you never know what she can be picking up. And I know she's nothing like Valentina, nothing at all. But she's shown little improvements throughout her last few fights that if she keeps working with her sister, she can be much better than she is now. And I just don't see, like, you never know what she's learned on the ground. Like you said, her path of victory, maybe some control time on the ground. If her sister taught her anything, it's how to grapple, how to control people, right? So I think Antonia wins in the feet, she wins in the clinch, and hopefully has learned enough to win on the ground as well. No bet from me. I'm picking Antonia by decision. Antonina. I've been saying that wrong the whole time. Antonina.
Yeah, I don't hate it, man. I don't. Yeah, I can see it. But I think Lee is better. I think Lee is better than her record shows in the UFC. She could easily be 5-1 right now, easily. And those again, Lauren Murphy, Joanne Calderwood, probably top contenders in the division. So I'm gonna lean Lee here. The opening line is a joke. But I think Lee should be the slight minus 122 favorite in this spot. But yeah, if it gets the plus money, good luck on your shot. I'm gonna be staying away.
We've also seen some very questionable judging in Texas, right? And she wore a cowboy. We got that picture of her in the. Oh, I know. Maybe we got that picture of her in the cowboy hat. Maybe some bias there. She gets the nod in the decision. You never know.
Yeah,
I'm staying away from it completely.
Yeah, I see some people saying that the Texas judges are going to give Lee the decision, but again, she didn't get the decision against Murphy, so I think that was the one in Texas. I think. Don't know.
Yeah, that was the same night as.
Oh, that was the same night as Martinez Uhl. Yeah, as Martinez Uhl, as that fight, Jones and Reyes, and there's one more. Can't think of it right now, but there was one more. But yeah, judging that night was shocking. I just think it's going to be just another split decision, and I feel like if I had to bet, like whichever side is plus money would probably be the side. It's just gonna. I think it's just lined up to be a close split decision. What Andrea Lee always finds herself in, and I think Andrea. I think on the feet, maybe like Shevchenko will like outstrike her slightly, but it'll be close. And then I feel personally that Angelique can maybe mix in a takedown, get a little bit of control time, and steal around. But it could go either way. We'll see how it goes. Definitely not the most exciting fight on the card, but I definitely think there's better spots.
Yeah, it's not worth your time on DraftKings either. There's so many better fights. The only thing I could see is they're both so hittable, so maybe they're gonna rack up a few points. But there's gonna be I don't think there's a finish, so
yeah, and they're both.
I'd leave it off your card. Very low owned for me. Yeah. Next one, however, that's not so low owned.
Yeah. All right, so we got the next one here. We got Jamie Pickett taking on Jordan Wright. The Beverly Hills Ninja is back. And so Jamie Pickett, 32 years old, 6'2", middleweight fight, 80-inch reach. He's got 8 wins by basically 9 wins by knockout, 2 decision wins. He's never been knocked out. He's been submitted twice and lost by decision 3 times. He is 0-1 in the UFC and 11-5, taking on Jordan Wright, who is 11-1, 1-1 in the UFC thus far. 29 years old, 77-inch reach, so 3 years younger, 3-inch reach disadvantage. He has 100% finish rate, 6 by KO, 5 by sub, and he's been knocked out once. Now, before we really get into this fight, we just have to take a minute to what's the word I'm looking for? To just illustrate how Jordan Wright has the most padded record in the history of fighting in anywhere in the world.
It can't be real.
Like, if you guys don't know, the guy's first 7 opponents don't even have a professional win. Like, it's that bad. It's that bad. So, that being said, I think Jordan Wright is okay. I think he's a decent striker. I think he's got a decent ground game. But for me, I don't know if the chin is quite there. So with Pickett, I'll start with Pickett actually. So Pickett is going to have the 3-inch reach advantage. He's definitely a very durable fighter in terms of and his chin. He's never been knocked out. I feel like he could have been knocked out by Tafon if Tafon had better finishing instincts, but he's definitely durable. He's got a chin, and he throws good kicks. He throws a decent jab when he lets it go. Jamie Pickett has good hands when he lets it go. It's just he doesn't look like he does it enough. And especially in his UFC debut, like I feel like he could have had definitely more success against Tafon if he actually let the hands go. And I feel like we're going to see him let the hands go more against a guy like Wright, who's going to be on the outside looking for kicks. And Pickett's someone's going to have to engage, and I definitely think they will engage, and it'll turn into someone going to sleep or Wright getting him down and subbing him. In terms of the wrestling, I think Pickett has decent wrestling. I think Wright's wrestling might be a little bit better from what I've seen, but again, he's fighting like in the fight Jordan Wright had against Checo. Like, he showed some pretty decent grappling there. I'm pretty sure Checo was like gassing pretty hard, but he still showed decent technique from what I saw. But Pickett, he looks like he doesn't throw enough volume with his hands, as I've touched on. He throws pretty solid leg kicks, but he does have power once he lets his hands go. He's got 9 wins by knockout. I mean, it's 8 by knockout, but his submission win was a KO, basically a sub, because he was pounding on the guy. But he's got good straight left hands, good side kicks, and I think in this fight, someone's going to have to engage, and I feel like it's going to be Pickett. Because I feel like Wright plays more like on the outside with his kicks, his flashy kicks and stuff, unless Wright has like a wrestling heavy approach. But the thing with Wright is, man, he's never been past the 48-second mark of the second round. And like, you can say maybe and the fight against Buckley, like, he just looked like he's definitely chinny in my opinion, for sure. Like, I know Buckley hits hard, but he was looking like, at the end of the round when Buckley hit him, like his speech was slurred in the corner. Like, he was like, he didn't know what was going on. Like, it was obvious he was getting knocked out within the minute of that second round. And Pickett hits hard, man. Like, that combo in the Contender Series just shows that when he lets the hands go, the guy's got power. The guy, like, Wright's going out by one of those shots, one of them, at max 2. So I think if Pickett lets the hands go, I think he can definitely get a knockout here. But these are 2 big guys for the division for 185. We don't really know what Jordan Wright's cardio looks like. He's never been that late. And I see a lot of people on the over 1.5 here. And I don't really get it because, like, yes, Pickett is a little bit gun shy, doesn't throw that much volume, and Wright's a counter striker. So yes, they could just be standing around circling. But both guys are good. Like, both these guys know they need to get a win here. There's going to be the energy in the arena. They're going to start engaging, and Wright he always finds his way into a fight that gets finished. Even when you think they're not going to end up in a finish that quickly, like he's got good kicks, he's got decent boxing, he's got good wrestling. He's definitely live for a sub if he gets Pickett's back or something like that. We've seen Pickett controlled on the ground by Charles Bird on the Contender Series. I think Wright can do that as well. In terms of a money line side, I think Pickett is the side, but you can't really be confident in Jamie Pickett. But what I like here is the under 2.5. It's that minus 160, minus 163. I'll talk about the bet I have with this fight at the end of the card when I get to the fight that I have it with. It's just I feel at minus 160 for a guy who's never been past the 6-minute mark in a fight is crazy to me. And I feel like this line should definitely be wider if you take away Tafon's debut. I feel like that line's probably a little bit wider, just because Pickett looked kind of gun shy in there, and doesn't look like he throws that much volume. But I feel like these guys are going to go to war. I feel like someone's going to get knocked out. I feel like the fight's going to get finished somewhere around like the minute and a half mark in the fight. So not minute and a half, right? Like the round and a half fight minute in the fight. And I see a finish definitely materializing here. Both guys definitely are going to want to finish. Both guys are going to want to get back on track. And yeah, I like Pickett by knockout here. I capped it like maybe Pickett like minus 122, Wright plus 122. So if Pickett gets to plus money, maybe it's a shot. But to me, I like the under here in this fight. Yeah, what you got?
See, Buckley really wrote the book on Jordan Wright. Blitz him, hit his chin, because his chin is non-existent. His opponents have never really got to him because he has the most padded record of all time. I looked at it while you're talking. He beat a guy who was 0-21. What are you doing fighting if you're 0-21? And whereas I think Jordan Wright's a great fighter. He's got the skills. He's got great ground game, in my opinion. Hasn't really been tested, but I think it's pretty good.
I agree.
He's really good on his feet too, but he lacks two very important things: a chin and cardio, which is great for me as an underbetter. I love my violence bets. My under 1.5, 2.5 fight is go decision. But I think if Pickett's going to win, he's got to blitz him. And we've seen him be able to do it. Yeah. But a lot of people are thinking that he's going to do that the same game plan he did versus Tafon.
Agreed, man.
I'll tell you for a fact, if you're fighting Tafon Achikwe, unless you're Jenyon Park, you're going to be a bit scared. Because that's a big man. Whew, right? So I think Pickett knows what he's got to do. He's got to get a win. He's got to hit that chin of Wright, who's very questionable. And if you're Jordan Wright, I think your best game plan might even be to take him to the ground. You've seen Pickett be dominated. Mm-hmm. You know that you're fighting someone who will touch you up and who has pretty decent power. So whereas he's really good on the feet, I think his best path to victory here is on the ground itself. So my pick is a bit wild. I'm taking Jordan Wright by submission in this one. I'm with you in the under 2.5. I took it straight, minus 160. I'm on that as well. But for our predictions, I'm taking Jordan Wright by submission.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I think he could definitely. I agree with you. I think he can get the fight to the ground and have a lot of success in there, win minutes there. And yeah, we've seen Pickett get subbed by rear naked choke. We've seen Pickett be controlled on the mat. The thing with Pickett is I think he's better than what he's shown, because I feel like if he lets the hands go, like he hasn't faced the best competition either. Let's be real. But like he's definitely durable. So if Wright. I feel like if it stays on the feet, I think Pickett is more live for a KO, and if it gets to the ground, I feel like Wright's live for a sub, because we know Pickett's durable. Like he didn't get knocked out by Punahele Soriano. He didn't get knocked out by Tafon. I feel like he could have, but he didn't at the end of the day. Yeah. And touching on your cardio with Jordan Wright, what I noticed from Jordan Wright is the fights that have gotten to the second round, or when there's been a break in action, he puts his hands on his head and he goes like, he kind of like takes like deep breaths. So I definitely. We don't really know what his cardio is like, but from what we know from like 1-round fighters, we know that their cardio usually isn't good. Like we know it's inevitable. They've never been there. They've got to go through a 15-minute fight to really feel that. And while I do feel it could potentially happen, I feel at minus 160, 61% indication. I feel like that should definitely be wider for a guy who's never been past the 548 mark, for a guy who doesn't look to have the greatest cardio, for a guy who's got KO upside, submission upside against another guy who's definitely got KO upside. I feel like they're going to meet in the middle. Again, I know I keep mentioning the fans, but that really plays a difference. Like I really do think the fans especially when you've been fighting with no fans, definitely makes a difference. So I think they're going to go to war. I think maybe the first 3.5 minutes we might be a little bit nervous just because I feel like they might try to feel each other out. But once the action starts going, once they start touching each other, once they start feeling each other's power, I feel like we're definitely going to get a finish somewhere midway through the second round. So my play is going to be Pickett by KO here. Don't hate Wright by sub. I think if he does get a finish, I think that's how he gets it done. I don't care who wins. And I don't care who gets the finish, but we're just hoping it goes under 7.5 minutes. And I just feel at minus 160, it's a decent play. Until we see that Jordan Wright can go 15 minutes, until we see that his fights do extend past that mark, I think it's definitely safe to assume that this fight should go under the 2.5 mark. As Pickett is definitely live for a finish as well. Like, he's not a decision guy. He doesn't typically go to decisions in his earlier fights. And this isn't like two UFC vets that are going to be like smart and like play a chess game. Like, no, these are two finisher guys, in my opinion, that finish lower level guys. And I feel like these two guys are not the highest of levels. I feel like the loser is going to be in a very, very difficult situation going forward. So I feel like this is a must win for both guys, and I feel like they're going to come out hard. And I like the under here.
And
but for
that works
predictions, I'm
perfect.
going to go Pickett by KO.
All right, there we go, head-to-head. But it's perfect for our DraftKings because we have two guys who want to finish, two guys who have obvious paths to finish, and who should finish, giving us with great scores. They're both 8.1K, lots of value to save, even though you don't really need it this card. But I'll be playing a lot of them. I'm going to be almost, I think, 90% owned on this fight because I think it ends pretty early.
Yeah, for sure. And we're getting 7.5. No. Why do I keep saying 7.5? It's 12.5. I don't know why I keep saying 7.5. But yeah, we got 12.5 minutes for a finish to materialize here. Definitely think that's live. And yeah, I like it. I think the line is very recency biased towards the Tefon fight, where I feel like Pickett was probably a little bit scared of the guy. I mean, who wouldn't? And I feel like, and Pickett rocked Tefon in that fight. Like, he hurt him.
Something that he never felt before. But another thing about that fight too is Tefon had the ability to finish Pickett. Like, it's not like Pickett's chin is Shane Burgos, for example, right? I think Pickett has I think it's a great chin, but I think the right could crack it if he had to. Not if he had to, but he could if he gets the right shot on there as well. We've seen Tefon. I know Tefon's a beast, but Tefon rocked him, and then instead of finishing him, he tried to sub him, which is something he's not great at. He let him recover. He wrestled him a bit. Tefon rested as well. So I think someone with the right who will have that killer mentality and try to get him out of there, that if he does rock him, he'll have a much better chance of finishing Pickett than, say, Tefon did that last fight.
Agreed. All right, so we'll move on to the next one here. We got a featherweight fight here. Very, very, very interesting fight, to say the least. I know you got some action on this one, so I'll break down the fighters, and then I'll let you get into it first, and then I'll give you my thoughts. But looking at these guys, so we got Mike Grundy taking on Lando Vannata. Lando Vannata obviously coming down to featherweight to make his featherweight debut. So Lando Vannata is 29 years old, 5'9", obviously 145 now, 71-inch reach. He is 11 wins, 5 losses, and 2 draws. He's got 4 KO wins, 5 sub wins, and 2 decision wins. He's never been knocked out, lost by sub once, and lost 4 decisions. And in the UFC so far, he's 3 wins, 5 losses, and 2 draws. So he's got a little bit of everything. And he's taking on a guy in Mike Grundy who's 12-2, 1-1 in the UFC thus far, currently running a 1-fight losing streak. He's 34 years old, 5'7", 72-inch reach. He's got 1 KO, 8 subs, 3 decision wins, never been knocked out, lost by submission once, and lost by decision once. And so I know you got some action on this one, so I'll let you break it down and then let you know what I think of the fight. What you got on this one?
All right.
And how you see it going?
Well, Vannata's a guy who just always action in his fights, which I love. You got to have those action. He had a great war in his debut versus Ferguson. His fights with Bobby Green have been great as well. But the thing about him is his competition has been nothing to what Grundy is. Grundy's a chain wrestler. He's a great wrestler. I think he's an elite status wrestler. He'll go for all of the averages 4.25 takedowns per 15 minutes. And he's got great top control. Like something that, like, he's just a born wrestler. It gives me almost Gregory Gillespie vibes almost at the time he's wrestling, right? Just because he goes for all of them. I know he's maybe not as good as him, but he knows what he has to do. He doesn't throw that much volume because he just takes guys down and suffocates them. He took down Evloev how many times? I think 6 times that fight. And Evloev is a really, really good fighter. And he had him in the deepest submission I've ever seen. I don't know how Evloev got out of that. But what I see in Grundy is a fighter who knows a game plan, who will work for you, and he'll take you down and try to execute his game plan. Vannata is coming down from 155, dropping a weight class, but he likes to strike in the feet. He has a wrestling background, nothing like Grundy does. But every single opponent he's faced has been a striker, relatively, right? I saw a stat that when he was taken down more than once, he is 1-7 in the UFC. Wild. That's not the main reason I'm betting it. I think Grundy's better on the ground, but it's something that he's never had to face before. Like, he's never faced a wrestler in the form of Mike Grundy. And whereas Mike Grundy is very one-dimensional, he's going to take you down. He's not going to pound you out. He doesn't throw much volume, but he's going to take you down over and over and over again. I think that Grundy's very live for a sub here. What do you think?
Yeah, man, we're going head to head again, man. I'm loving this. I'm not confident in it, but I do lead Lando, and I'll give some reasons why. So this is a typical, to me, striker versus grappler matchup, right? If Grundy can't get the fight down and control Lando, he's going to get paced up on the feet. Volume. Lando's a great offensive striker. Throws a lot of different techniques. And Grundy, from what I've seen, is not like, his striking is okay, but he just doesn't throw enough volume to me, and he doesn't have the greatest of striking defense. He gets hit 4.09 times, 58% striking defense so far. Yeah, and to your point, you were talking about taking down Evloev 6 times. He did take Evloev 6 times, but he only controlled him for, I think it was 2.5 minutes of those 6 times. And a lot of that obviously came in the first round. And yeah, that submission, he definitely could have got the sub there, and then this line would be completely different here if he would have locked in that sub. I do think the sub wasn't. I feel like the sub was tight, but I feel like Movzar did have some space, and he got out of it relatively quickly. But yeah, like you said, he's got good timing, good on his level changes, good wrestling, good submissions. He does expend a lot of energy on his takedowns, though, because as you said, he's a chain wrestler. I don't know if he has the cardio for that. His cardio to me seems like it's okay. But against Movzar, he definitely looked like he was starting to slow down when he couldn't get the fight down. So I definitely think if Lando can stuff the majority of the takedowns, the fight's going to go similar to the Evloev fight for sure.
See, I can't compare Evloev's get-up game to Vannata's. I don't think Vannata will be able to get up that easily. Evloev, I think, has got some real promise for the division, but the thing with Grundy is, yes, he exerts a lot of energy, but he gets people down relatively easily when he wants to. Like, he's got great timing. He sets them up really well. And Vannata usually, he'll get taken down. He'll attempt a sub all the time. He attempts that guillotine a lot and accepts bottom position after that. So, whereas, yes, he only controlled him for maybe a few minutes in the first round, I can't take anything from that Evloev fight because Evloev is just a great athlete, great fighter. So I'm against you on this one, but I see how if Grundy can't get him down and Vannata survives the first few rounds, I don't know. Hope he doesn't get a spinning heel kicked again, but we'll see.
Yeah, to me, especially from what we've been seeing from the judges recently, if Grundy just gets him down and doesn't do anything, and then Lando gets up and then lands a couple good combinations, he's going to win the round. He's just going to. They value striking way more than top control with doing nothing. I think Lando actually has some underrated wrestling, man. I think he has decent wrestling himself. I think his get-up game is a little bit better than you're making it out to be. The only time we saw him get fully Mark Diakise obviously took him down. I think it was 4 times and controlled him on the mat. The thing with I definitely want to see him on the scales for sure. I'm not betting this fight at all because I'm never placing a bet on Lando Vannata. He's just too crazy for me. I definitely want to see how he looks at 145 here. But so far from Grundy's UFC fights, I definitely agree. He's faced decent competition outside the UFC. A lot of guys with decent records. But like you said, he's at his best when he can get you down, lay on top of you, control the fight, land some decent ground and pound, hunt for a submission for sure. And then you got Vannata, who's got good movement on the feet, good lead jab, good movement. I just said that. Good right hand. He's got some power himself. But the thing with Lando is I feel like his biggest weakness from what we've seen so far is just that he holds his hands low and he doesn't move his head off the center line. So if you bring a good jab against him, you're gonna have success against him. Grundy doesn't really bring that. If Grundy can't get the fight down and do exactly what he wants with Vannata and just control him for the majority of the round, he's gonna get pieced up on the feet. I think Lando's a better striker than I think Lando's a pretty good striker. Honestly, he throws a lot of volume. He has some sneaky power in there. He's got different techniques that he throws at you. He's super tough, good right hand hook shots. He threatens the guillotine as well, so Grundy could find himself in a guillotine. Do I think that's likely? Probably not, but he does threaten it, which could help him get back to his feet if he wanted to. And, he has been controlled. You said he's been controlled on the ground. He's usually been taken down at least once per fight, and his takedown defense isn't the greatest. So I can definitely see you from a Grundy perspective here. But for me, the reason I'm passing this fight is because it's just whoever's going to get their game plan off better. I just can't trust Grundy enough to get Lando down and control him down when I haven't seen it yet in the UFC, at least. I know he's done it to other guys, but in the UFC, at least, like with Nad Narimani, like he really didn't use any wrestling in that fight. I think Nat does he have a wrestling? Does he have wrestling background? I can't remember.
I know he's. Oh, I'm thinking of Macron Americani. Narimani, I think he's got some, but that fight didn't go long enough for him to implement it, I don't think.
Yeah, like we were getting to the end of the second round, and then he caught him with a. Yeah, he's got some sneaky. Yeah. Like he's only got one knockout, but that was a good shot. You hurt him bad there. But yeah, to me, I'm gonna edge Lando. I just think that yes, I think Grundy will get takedowns. I honestly don't think that Grundy's gonna be able to hold him down for 3-4 minutes at a time. Personally, I think Lando definitely he doesn't just lie there. From what I've seen, sometimes he does, but he tries to get back to his feet. He threatens with submissions. He threatens with he's always trying to move and get off his back. So for me personally, this is just like a wild fight, dumpster fire type fight. Whoever gets off their game plan is going to have more success. I can see it from a Grundy point of view. I can see it from a Lando point of view. In terms of the line, what is it at now? Plus 105, minus 125. I don't really want to touch that. I don't really see the value. I know how much you got on Grundy?
2.5 units. That's one of my biggest plays of the night.
2.5 units.
Mainly because not to cut you off, but you did say underrated ground game from Vannata, and whereas I do think it's not as bad as people expect it to be. I know some people are huge on Grundy here. I just think Vannata has not faced a wrestler, just like an exclusive wrestler, the way that Grundy is, right? You look at all his L's, they're the people who are okay at wrestling and better than him, but Grundy is just straight wrestling all the time, and he's good at it. And I think that he's going to use it, and he's going to get the dub here.
Yeah, man, I don't hate it. I definitely want to see how Lando looked with the skills too. Coming down a weight class, I think he might look in better shape. He has looked in better shape in his recent fights. I think featherweight would be a good division for him. But yeah, it's looking at his losses. Mark Diakise obviously had that good wrestling approach. He's got some decent wins. He's just super inconsistent, man. I think he's definitely got. I think he's a good fighter. I think he has a lot of. If he puts it together, I feel like he has decent upside. And he's got to know that that's going to be. He's got to know that that's going to be Grundy's game plan. He's got to know that he's going to come in. He's going to want to chain wrestle him. He's going to want to keep taking him down. And I just feel if Grundy, because for me personally, if this fight, Grundy's going to have to be shooting all the time. On the feed, I think Lando is much better than Mike Grundy at striking. He throws more output. He's more accurate, and he's got more ways to pick him apart. So I think Grundy's going to have to go in for the wrestling consistently, chain wrestle him. And I feel if Lando doesn't get first round subbed on the back, then I feel like Grundy might start to gas. Honestly, if he keeps shooting, I've seen it before, and some of it I've seen it slow down a little bit. I can see Grundy. I can see Grundy definitely controlling the fight on the ground. I'm staying away. Hopefully he cashes for you, but I'm gonna go Lando by decision here.
All right, there we go, head to head.
All right, we'll go on to the next fight now, and this is definitely a head-to-head fight we got here. We got Ronaldo Jacare Souza taking on Andre Muniz here, and so we will look into them. So we got Jacare Souza, 41 years old, 6'1", 185 pounds now, 72-inch reach. He's very short arms. He's 26-9, 8 wins by knockout, 14 by sub, 4 by decision. He's been knocked out 4 times, never been submitted, lost by decision 5 times. And in the UFC, he's 9-6, currently on a 3-fight losing streak. He's lost 4 of his last 5. Taking on Andre Muniz, who's got a good start to his UFC career. He's 2-0 in the UFC, currently running a 6-fight win streak overall, 20-4 He's 31 years old, so 10 years younger. They're the same height. He's got a 6-inch reach advantage as well. 4 knockouts, 3 submission wins, 3 decision wins. He's been knocked out 4 times, and that's all of his losses. Okay, do you want me to open this one, or do you want to open this one?
Go for it.
All right, so for me in this fight, I really don't see how you can make a case for Muniz besides he's 41 years old. Like, I think Souza's got him covered everywhere. Everywhere. He's been fighting, and the only reason I'm not going heavier on it is because he's 41, obviously. And yes, that last fight was a little bit concerning. But, Souza's been fighting elite competition for years. Like, the best of the best, very experienced veteran, and he is competitive. He took the current light heavyweight champion to a 48-47. And he's decently lined in these fights, too. If you look at his last fight against Holland, so I think he was the slight dog, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was maybe like +1.
No, he was favored in it.
He was favorite?
I got dog money in Holland last minute.
Okay,
Don't ask me why. And
so he closed favorite. So he's closing favorite against Kevin Holland, but now he's the basically like a really similar line to Andre Muniz. He just got him covered everywhere here, man. If he's not fully shot, he is going to win this fight, in my opinion. The chin, like, if you obviously that last fight wasn't a good look for the chin, but his chin in his relatively recent fights, like within 3 years, within 2 years, it's looked pretty decent to me. And that was like a freak knockout. Like, who expects the guy to just punch you from the bottom like that with like a lot of power? So Muniz isn't really that guy. I hope. But you got to give Jacare the wrestling edge here. He's the better wrestler for sure. And Muniz has lots of his submissions from guard. I'm telling you, Muniz by sub just doesn't seem that high of a possibility for me, looking more into the fight, because you got a guy like Jacare who's never been submitted in his MMA career. He's only been submitted once. I think it was by Roger Gracie in his jiu-jitsu world. Like, he is aware to every single position. So I get Muniz is a good grappler, but so is Jacare, and I think he's got the edge there. He's got decent head movement. He's got good low kicks when he throws them. He should have the cardio advantage here. Well, he will have the cardio advantage. Muniz has awful cardio. And Muniz is relatively chinny too, man. Like, he's been knocked out in all of his 4 losses. He's been brutally knocked out in 3 of his losses. Like, they haven't been good looks. The volume on the feet might be a little bit concerning for Jacare. But then you look at the side of Muniz, and Muniz isn't really a guy that throws a lot of volume either. He's a guy that throws like big 1-2s with his kicks or with his straight left just to close the distance. But do I think he's gonna be able to get Jacare down? I don't think so. I don't think he's gonna be able to get the fight to the ground. He doesn't have the best wrestling in the world. And Jacare, I feel, will be able to defend against those takedowns. And like, if let's look at the fight from the 3 scenarios. If it stays on the feet, like, you gotta favor Jacare here. You've got to.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely the better striker, in my opinion. Muniz is not that good of a striker. All his strikes are just to close the distance. Volume-wise, I feel like they both throw low volume. I feel like Muniz might actually end up throwing more during the fight. But I think Jacare is the more accurate striker. I think Jacare has the better striking defense. I think Jacare mixes up to the body very well, which could definitely take away to the cardio. He's definitely still got some power in his punches. Like, the power is something that stays even as you age. And he's got very good top control. So if this fight hits the mat, I feel like he'll be able to stay safe. I feel like he'll be able to control the position. Because if you look at Muniz's wins so far, I personally, I don't see how you can play this guy here. Like, he's beating Bartosz Fabinski, who literally is a walking here, I'll get submitted. All he does is wrestle, and he's got terrible submission defense. And if you watch the fight against Araujo, like, that was shocking. It was hard to watch. And if you can't finish a guy like Araujo, who, like, isn't that good at all, I don't see how he finishes Jacare here. I don't see him submitting Jacare. I feel the only way he gets this done is by a knockout, because Jacare's chin is shot. But I don't really think he's fully shot yet. Like, I don't really see. I get he's 41 years old, but he like 2 fights ago he was fighting Jan Blachowicz, and he looked decent in that fight. And then he gets freak knocked out by Kevin Holland, and now he's completely shot. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. I think Muniz. I think Jacare. This is a really good stylistic matchup for a guy like Jacare here to get him a win here. It's not a guy who's that much of a threat to knock you out. I'm not saying Muniz can't knock out Jacare, but in terms of are you a threat to KO someone in a fight, I don't think Muniz possesses that high of a threat. But Muniz he doesn't really have any wins, man. Like he beat Bartosz, like he was the underdog in that spot, who's not in the UFC anymore. Arroyo's basically about to get cut out the door once he loses his next fight to Breeze. And it's just his strength of the fight plays right into what Jacare is good at. Like he is a submission expert, and Jacare, you can tell, and every time someone has tried to submit him, he knows what to do. He's making the right moves. He's doing everything right because he understands the positions. He understands what to do in those situations. He's been in so many here, and I just feel as if Jacare can knock this guy out. Like he's been knocked out 4 times. Why can't Jacare knock him out? This guy's got power. Like if you look at Jacare's resume, man, like this guy's been fighting the best. He's fought every top middleweight and even light heavyweight. He's been fighting all those guys. Like he loses to Kevin Holland, like in a fight where I don't think he looked that terrible. It did kind of look like he loses focus a little bit, which is a little bit concerning. But I feel like he looked okay up until that point, right? But like you. This is just to me. I just think this is a really good stylistic matchup for him. I think this fight probably finishes. I think Jacare finishes him. I think this fight ends by knockout in one of the ways. But I see Jacare, if the fight hits the mat, he can control him, ride him on top, land some decent ground and pound, stay safe, win a decision. And he's got the cardio advantage too. So it's not like Muniz is gonna like wow you with volume or wow you with cardio. I don't know, man. I'm interested to see what you got to say for Muniz here because I like Jacare here. The only way I'm not really betting the line a lot is because yes, he is 41. Is he shot? Is he not? We don't know. But in terms of value, I think Jacare is a good spot here. But what you got from Muniz?
So I originally, when this line opened, I put a full unit on Muniz. I'm like completely just based on the fact that Jacare is shot, and I know like that's all I got is he's chinny and he's old. Because what I see in Muniz is someone who's, well, before I continue, I did withdraw that bet after watching tape, and instead I put on a half unit bet of Muniz inside the distance, right, at plus 240.
That's not bad. I like that.
Because what I'm seeing is Muniz is just a not as developed mini Jacare Souza, right? Mm-hmm. You look at them and they're both great on the ground. You give the advantage to Jacare on the feet, which is something that Muniz can develop. And I just see similarities in them, right? And I would 100%, if I have 2 similar fighters, I'm taking the hungry younger dog every single time, right? And that's just a mental state for me. We watched Jacare stay at 205 for a while. In this first fight back, he gets knocked out. Is it the weight cut? Is it him being older? It was a freak knockout, but it's not like it's something that's impossible to happen. I think Muniz can do the exact same thing. Maybe not from that position, but I think it's just one good shot because he was out cold. It's not like he was TKO'd curled up. He was out cold on his back. And I don't expect Muniz to do the same thing, but all it takes is just, especially on someone older like that, you've seen a lot of good older fighters get knocked out recently who wouldn't usually. You look at, okay, Cowboy got knocked out last week. Someone who's older, maybe his chin's a bit shot, more like what it used to be. You look at, for some reason, Olynyk comes to mind. He got knocked out. Obviously, Dox is much better than Muniz is, but you see all these fighters who are older, and I can't justify betting on someone who you don't know. You're not getting the same older version of him as he used to be. Like Jacare 2 years ago, 100% should be minus 500 in this spot. But you don't know who he is today. You don't know if that weight cut is giving him chin issues. You don't know if he's just too old. You said he got distracted. You don't know if his head's in the game. So I'm 100% okay with taking a half unit stab or something at plus 240 for someone who's got that opportunity to just hit that shot chin. So in the end, I'm taking the younger guy who maybe isn't as skilled, but doesn't have that big one glaring weakness of shot chin that Jacare does.
Yeah, man, I see it. It's just, to me, the way I look at it, it's just it's just a bunch of what ifs, man. I definitely
Yeah,
like
it
your
is.
spot on the inside the distance much better than him playing straight, because I just don't see, because everybody that's betting on Muniz at this price tag is relying on one thing, that Jacare shot. It's not because of what Muniz brings to the table. It's not because of what Muniz if because Muniz is actually good, because I don't really think he's that special. Obviously he's great on the mat, but his cardio sucks, his striking sucks. And I just feel like you can't. It's tough for me to just make a bet on a guy just because of the what if. I'm gonna take the guy. Yes, he may be a little bit older, but just because he's old doesn't mean he can't win fights, man. Like people forget that this was Jacare just at his, like, he was competing with Jan Blachowicz just right before the Kevin Holland fight, and no one would have said he was shot there. He was decently lined in that fight, I'm pretty sure, and that was what, November 16th, 2019. So, relative time ago, but I just feel like before this Kevin Holland fight, there wasn't that much talk about Jacare being shot, because then people would have hammered all these lines here. So to me, I don't think Jacare is fully gone. I've looked. I think he's in this game. I think he wants a win here. I don't think he's just doing it to get a paycheck. And even if he is a little bit chinny, I don't think Muniz is just guaranteed going to put him out, because the guy isn't a good striker. He's got 4 knockouts on his resume, so he's not like this knockout threat where, oh no, what if he knocks him out? It's not like he's fighting like a power puncher here. So to me, like, for me, I played Jacare 0.55 units to win half a unit. I did go a little bit at -110, so I did go a little bit lighter on it, because yes, I am concerned that Jacare is gone. But if he is not fully shot, he is going to win this fight. He is better everywhere. He's the better grappler. He's the better wrestler. He's the better striker. He's faced the better competition. He's got the better cardio. I can go on and on and on. Jacare is the better fighter here. And if he's not shot, he's going to look -300, -400. Like, he's just better everywhere. And I'm not high on Muniz at all. Not like taking any shots in it, but he hasn't faced anyone near the competition that Jacare has. And the only way Muniz wins this is if Jacare is shot. And we are making the assumption that Jacare is shot. So to me, you're basically going off luck, in the sense that, is he gone, is he not? So to me, I like Jacare here. I really want to put more on it. Like, I really do, but I am a little bit scared. So I think I'm just going to keep it 0.55 units to win 0.5. I capped the fight around 65-35, and then took into consideration, okay, he's 41, so then it comes down to around 60. So I like the spot here for some value. In terms of props, I was originally really high on the fight doesn't go to decision at even money, but thinking about it, I don't think Muniz can sub Jacare. I just don't see it. I think Muniz can get the KO. I think Jacare can get the KO. I don't think Jacare is going to get a sub by any means. And I think Jacare could coast to a decision here. So for me, the play is going to be Jacare straight, -110. And I like him here. If he's not shot, he wins this fight. If he is shot, he could still win the fight even if he is shot. Like, if he just has to stay on top, because say hypothetically, he gets him down. He wrestles him. He gets him down. I feel comfortable that Muniz is not going to sub Jacare. Like, he could, but I feel comfortable watching, like, okay, Jacare, your chin is kind of in the air. I want you here, because it's not like his intelligence is going to go away. It's not like, oh, I forget how to defend this position because I'm 41 years old. So to me, I like Jacare here a bunch. I really want to go more, but I'm going to keep it at what I have now, just because who knows if he is shot or not. But to me, I like your spot, Muniz inside the distance +240. Definitely better than his +105 now. I don't think he wins a decision. But yeah, I don't see a bet. I don't see how you can justify betting Muniz straight here at the money line.
I'm completely okay with taking the what if shot, because if you faded fighters over the age of 40 who have come off a loss for the past year and a half, you would have made so much money. And I'm perfectly okay with losing a half a unit to watch a legend like Jacare be his old self. And I'd be completely fine with him being his old self, right? Yeah. But we have to be realistic, and age plays a huge factor here, right? So I'm perfectly fine with taking a half unit shot. If he's shot, he's shot. If not, we get a good fight, right? That's all we're looking for, a good fight. And I'm okay with risking that 0.5 units just to watch and see if that happens. It's a big what if. You're right. I know Jacare is better everywhere, especially older Jacare. But is the Jacare we get on the scale tomorrow and on fight Saturday, is he going to be the same one he used to be, or is he going to be the same guy that Kevin Holland knocked out from a scramble?
Yeah, man. I agree. I like your shot, man. I like your shot. cutting that price tag from plus 105 or even evens money at like minus to a plus 240 for him to win inside the distance, I don't hate it. And half a unit shot for sure. I like that a lot better for you.
So you must be high on Souza for DraftKings, eh?
Meh, because I do feel he can get a KO, but I feel like if he doesn't get the KO, I feel he's low volume. Right, he's low volume. I don't think he's gonna go out there and like chain wrestle. Like he might get a takedown and be able to stay control, but I don't know if he's even gonna land that many strikes. I definitely think his volume is going. So in a sense, on the feet, do I think Muniz might actually be able to have some success if Jacare doesn't throw? Yes, but I feel once Jacare lets his hands go, he's gonna land on Muniz, who doesn't have the best striking defense. And once he realizes, okay, I got this. Once he fights that inner mental state of him, like, okay, I got this. I can hit this kid. I can hurt him. I just feel he'll be better. So, like from a DraftKings perspective, I do think he has KO upside, but I do also think it could be a really just stay on top of him, stay safe, defend the arm bars, defend the guillotines, defend the triangles, whatever he throws at him, and coast his way to a low volume decision. So, I'll look into it, but
I won't be that high owned in this fight, but I will be high owned in the next fight.
Oh, yes, we got the next fight. Shane Burgos versus Edson Barboza, second best fight on the card, in my opinion. These are good fights, man. I'm super amped for this card, but definitely one of the better fights here. So we got
Fight
Shane
of the night
Burgos.
Candidate.
Yeah, fighter of the night candidate for sure. So we got Shane Burgos, who is 30 years old, 5'11", 145 pounds. Flyweight fight this is taking place at. He has got a 75-inch reach. He is got 5 KOs, 5 subs, and 3 decisions. And he's been KO'd once, lost by decision once, 13-2 as a professional. And he is 6-2 in the UFC, currently riding a 1-fight losing streak. Now he's taking on UFC veteran, absolute beast of a man, Edson Barboza, who is 21-9, 16-9 in the UFC. So every fight except 5 of this guy's fights have been in the UFC. So he's been around the block a while. Been watching him for longer than I can remember. Super entertaining fighter. And he's getting up there in age. He's 35 years old now. Obviously drops to featherweight now. This is his 3rd featherweight fight, I believe. Yeah. He's also 5'11", 75-inch reach. So I feel like when I first got into this, for some reason I always think like Barboza is like a bit smaller. I feel like he's more like a 5'8", 5'9" guy, but they're the same height with the same reach, which is interesting to me. But he's got 12 knockouts, 8 decisions, 1 sub. He's been KO'd 3 times, lost by decision 4 times, and been subbed twice. Now, biggest thing that strikes out to me in this fight is the difference in volume. Right, Burgos throws 7.31 significant strikes per minute at a 50% clip, while Barboza is only throwing about 4 at a 43% clip. Burgos is also getting hit more, 5.8 significant strikes, but he does have a good 60% striking defense, and Barboza is getting hit 4 times, 60% striking defense. So the way I see this fight going, this was one of the earlier fights that I did tape. I think it was the second one I taped. And we know that Edson has problems with pressure fighters, right? We know that once he gets walked down, it's harder for him to find range with his kicks, harder to find range in general. And Burgos is that guy. But Emos obviously has a chin, right? He eats big shots, super durable. Like the fact he didn't get finished by Josh Emmett is crazy. Yes, he got finished by Cater, but he also took a lot of shots in that fight as well. And Cater's one of the best boxers in the division. But yeah, it's just that pressure, man. He keeps going forward. Good lead jab, good chopping leg kick, a lot of feints, a lot of fakes, good front kicks to the body. Good fight IQ, right? Good fight IQ. He always knows what's going on. He never puts himself in dangerous situations. Good cardio. He'll keep walking forward. The only thing that concerns me about him is he just gets hit a lot. And Barboza is a guy that definitely still packs power with his kicks, with his punches. He's a 3-level fighter, right? He goes to the body, goes to the legs really well up top. And he does hold his hands like relatively low, which I don't love. But he's got a good short uppercut. And he doesn't really throw with power. Something that I've seen is a lot of people are on the KO Burgos, which I see. But I feel like Burgos isn't really a guy that throws with like too much heat. He's more of a guy that just pieces you and lands a bunch of decent shots for me. And Burgos is good, man. Like he's fought a good competitive fight with Cater, good competitive fight with Emmett, and he's won the rest. good combinations. But he just doesn't move his head off the center line. I mean, what I'm trying to get at here, and then I'll let you get into it because I know I started the last one, so definitely want to give before I take all the points, let you get into this. But the thing I'm saying with Burgos is what I love about him is his volume, his durability, his pressure, his jabs, the fact he's got good IQ and he can attack a bunch of different areas. The only knock I have on Burgos is he just gets hit a bunch, and you don't want to be hittable against a guy like Barboza. Not saying Barboza's like if he hits you, you're done. But he's a guy that's dangerous, man. Like he's a dangerous guy if he connects hard. You could be going out. So, yeah. What do you think about this fight? Because like I said, I'll let you break this fight down first.
See, I think that all of Shane Burgos's strength play into Edson Barboza's weaknesses. Like we saw Dan Ige walk Barboza down. I think it was Ige, right? Yeah, saw him walk him down, get in his face, and you just take away the ranginess, the kicks, and a lot of the skills that Barboza brings to the table, right? Burgos is going to do that. He's going to walk you down no matter what, keep his hands high. He's going to take a bunch of shots, but he's going to land a lot more too. And that's what I think is most important is if you're swarming Barboza, he's not as effective. Like he's effective from range, kicking at all levels. The one thing that you did say that does scare me is Barboza is just so athletic like that. Like he's able to just explode into a knee, a kick, like something strong that won't put away Burgos. I don't think he is pretty tough, but if he gets hit enough times, like you never know what's going to happen. Like I think that Barboza definitely has the power to maybe not put away in one shot, but to put a few pieces together and really just stumble Burgos to eventually finish him. I think that's a possibility, but I think the most probable thing to happen will be Burgos walks him down, puts a bunch of volume onto him, pieces him up, bloodies him up. Hopefully see another bloody war like we did against Barboza versus Ferguson. But I think Burgos got this. I'm really excited to see what they look like on the scales. I'm waiting to take my shot on Burgos because I do think he is does have the biggest path to victory here. But I'll see what I see tomorrow at the weigh-ins. Like I really like Barboza as a fighter, but I think Burgos has all the tools he needs. He knows what he has to do. He's got great combinations. He walks you down. He's going to take away all that length. I guess we are in the bigger cage, but then again, I don't think that's going to matter really. Burgos going to walk you down. He's out of Mike Trezano's camp, and he's Jim, Shulman. Right?
Tiger Shulman.
So you're taking Trezano executed that plan perfectly. Walked him down, got in his face. I think Burgos can do the exact same thing. Can land a bunch of punches, lots of volume to help me with my DraftKings points, and I think he's going to take this home.
Yeah, it's also a good look for the judges too, right? Like I personally, when I was watching the Klein fight, like I felt like that was going to happen for sure. Me personally, I felt like Klein won the fight, but I knew they were going to give it to Trezano just because when you have close competitive rounds, you want the guy who's going forward, right? So I definitely agree with that. And yeah, like I feel like Burgos has a good spot here. I mean, I'm minus 140 now. I don't love it because I do think Barboza is definitely competitive in this fight for sure most of the time. Barboza's been fighting elite competition for a while now. Obviously, he's got very fast, powerful kicks, all three levels, but he's throwing less volume now. He's more like patient, which I guess is good, but you don't want to be like that against Burgos. But I just feel like this is going to be a war. The reason that I'm not like right away betting Shane Burgos is because Barboza, like if you look at the fight against Makwan, you might be like, oh yeah, he doesn't throw a lot of volume, blah, 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 blah. But the thing with Barboza is when you get in his face, when you pressure him, like he starts throwing more too. He's not just going to like crumble up and defend. Yes, pressure is the way to beat him, but he fights back, man. And Burgos being so hittable, I think Burgos is going to have to eat shots in this fight.
He will.
And if Burgos and if he wasn't as durable as he was, I might be betting Barboza here for sure. Because Barboza hits hard. He's got good low kicks, but he's got a lot of power. But I just feel like that pressure, man, it's gonna wear on him. Like Barboza's cardio is already starting to go a little bit. And if Shane just keeps walking him down, keeps punching him, it's gonna be hard for Barboza unless he lands that knockout blow. And to your point with Dan Ige, if you look at the thing that really caught my eye with the Ige fight is, right, Ige closed the distance really well on him and did well, right? But we have to remember, Ige is a small guy. Burgos is a more taller guy with a good jab. So Ige kind of had to close the distance or else he's at kicking range with Barboza, right? I just feel like Ige Barboza, the reason it was so close, as what I feel Ige's the better fighter, he had to close the distance a lot. He had to keep getting in. While Burgos is a guy that he can fight middle, like at kickboxing range. I kind of like Burgos a bunch here because he can land that jab. He doesn't have to get close to hit him, right? He can let his jab go. He can let his straights go, let his kicks go, mess up that lead leg. But yeah, the only reason, and that's really what I see from the fight. I just see Burgos continuously walking him down, jab, 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 eating some big shots. He's gonna have to. I think he can. And then once Barboza realizes, man, I can't get this guy out of here with my best shots, he's gonna just get really tired, really feel it. And I do think Burgos round 3 is live for a finish. But I'm gonna take Burgos by decision, and unless he gets hit with a big shot, but like you can't be confident in Barboza knocking out Burgos when Emmett couldn't do it. Emmett's like the hardest hitting guy like I've ever seen at that division. Like he's got a knockdown in each of his fights so far. Like he's got so much power, and Burgos ate all of them. He ate them against Cater until he got knocked out. And you got to think those guys are more powerful than Barboza. So to me, Barboza has a much more narrow path to victory than Burgos does. Burgos is going to look good in the optics in terms of controlling the fight. And I just feel like this is Burgos' fight to lose. And I like Shane Burgos. I'll be rooting for him. I like the guy. I think his fight IQ is really high. I think he's a good prospect. If he just cleans up that striking defense and stops getting hit so much and just puts those hands higher, I think he can be a real prospect of this division. And I feel like this is a good spot for him to get a win over Barboza and get back on track after losing to Josh Emmett.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm going to take him by decision. I will be probably sprinkling some round 3 props on Burgos because we like Barboza's cardio isn't great in the first place, and he's going to be walking down like pressured at all times. So I'll sprinkle that a bit, and the more I think about it, the more I really think that Burgos has the edge, and I might place a bet depending on what I see tomorrow. I don't know. We'll let you know. I think we're doing another podcast Friday or Saturday, or live stream. So we'll let you know what I end up doing there.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like originally when I first capped it, like I was close to 50-50, but with a slight edge to Burgos. But just looking more into it, like I watched a bit more of their recent fights, and it just feels like this is Burgos' fight, man. Like I don't really see, because Barboza's not going to throw more volume. He's not going to be the one going forward. He's not going to wrestle, obviously. So like, how does he win? Right? He's not winning a decision here. KO, I feel, is live, but as his path to victory. But is he going to win like that? Like you can't bet on it, because this guy lasted Josh Emmett. This guy almost lasted Cater and 8 big shots from Cater in a fight where he looked really good in that fight. So yeah, man, I'm tempted. Minus 140 is the price tag now, so that's about like 57% indication. Like, I know I capped it close. I don't know if I'm going to get to pulling the trigger, because I don't really see, because I'd have to put it around 65-35. I don't know if I can get that far, because Barboza is dangerous. Barboza does land his own punches too. But I don't hate it if you play Burgos. I'm going to consider it, but I think he's the side here for sure. All right, so we are going on to, that was the first fight of the main card. So we're going to go into the second fight of the main card here now, guys. We got another 125-pound fight. I feel like there's a lot of 125s here. Am I? 3 of them. Oh. So we got a pretty high stakes fight here at this division. We've got Caitlin Chookagian taking on Vannata Araujo. So Caitlin Chookagian, 32 years old, 5'9", 68-inch reach. She is 15-4. She has won only 2 knockouts, 1 sub, and 12 decisions. So she's definitely not a finisher. And she's been knocked out twice, lost by submission twice, and been lost by decision twice. She is 8-4 in the UFC, currently on a 1-fight winning streak. And she is taking on Vannata Araujo, who is 34, 5'4", so she's 5 inches shorter. But Caitlin usually has a height advantage against pretty much everybody. Same reach. She's got 3 wins by she's 10-2, 3 by knockout, 3 by decision, 4 by submission. So she's well rounded. She can pretty much do it all. She's lost by decision once and lost by KO once. And 4-1 in the UFC, currently running a 2-fight winning streak. I'll let you start off this one, because I feel like I've got some decently strong opinions on this one, so I want to hear what you got to say first.
This is one where I have a massive big X out of it. I'm not touching this fight. 10-foot pole. I just there's so many ways it could go. And you see, I really like Chookagian. She's well rounded. Maybe a bit annoying when she fights. I'll give her that. But
So
she gets the
annoying.
job done. Yeah, she's on a lot of main cards too. You got a lot of people here grunt.
Those sounds, man. Oh,
She has good tools and she executes plan very, very well. I know a lot of people aren't very high on her, but she does the job well. She's good in all areas. She throws a lot of volume, and she's got a pretty underrated ground game as well. That maybe it's a hot take, but I think she's pretty well rounded, ground feet everywhere, and she's facing someone in Araujo who's nowhere near her level of competition that Chookagian's faced. It's a huge step down. And I think Araujo has a good future ahead of her, but I don't know if this is it. Like, this is a big step up. Chookagian throws a lot of volume. And yes, she does get hit a lot. That's the thing. Chookagian does get hit a lot. So is Araujo going to put her out? No. She may land the more impactful shots, though. With a crowd there, that might be different. But no, I think this is Chookagian all day. She's well-rounded. I think she does have a better ground game than Araujo, but I don't think it'll give her that much. I think it's going to be a striking battle, lots of volume thrown, and just something that I'm not going to touch that much.
yeah, I agree. I'm definitely not going to touch this fight. I think the line is accurate. I'm seeing a lot of people on Vivi here, and pre-tape, I definitely thought I'd be all over Vivi. Like I remember, like, she's really good, man. Like, she's the complete package. She's got power, she's got grappling, she's got wrestling, but getting into the tape, I just feel like you got to go. I feel like Chook is the side here. Because let's break this down. So this is going to be, so we can probably agree that there's probably not going to be a finish. If there is a finish, it'll probably be on the side of VV, but I don't think there's going to be a finish here. Now, the biggest thing with Chookagian, well, I'll start with Vivi. The biggest thing with Vivi is, who is she beaten that's a striker? Nobody. She hasn't beaten anybody that's a striker. So being that confident on what you've seen of her, I don't really see it, because what are you basing this off of? Because she pieced up Roxanne Modafferi? Because she pieced up Montana De La Rosa? Because she pieced up Alexa Davis? Like, this Eye fight is really concerning. That's really what got me off. Like, she should have definitely beaten Jessica Eye. I would think so. And Jessica Eye's not that good of a striker either. So, you know, her striking is amazing, but you got it. Like, is she really fighting any resistance? Like, no. Like, she can just walk down. She walked down Montana De La Rosa. She Modafferi had nothing for her. These girls aren't strikers, right? Like, these girls are not strikers. They're not someone that's going to put you in a lot of danger on the feet. Well, you have Caitlin. Well, yes, she may not put you in danger in terms of having high finish upside. She throws a lot of volume. She's got good kicks. She's got good combinations. And you know, she's just a lot of good volume and a lot of punches. And she's just really a striker here. Like, Vivi hasn't beaten a person that is a striker. So for me, being so high on Vivi to just be able to do what she wants to Caitlin is just I don't know. You're not really looking into it. Caitlin's faced the better competition here for sure. Caitlin, yeah, and the grappling. I feel a lot of people saying that Vivi's going to go out there and wrestle Caitlin. You know, yes, Caitlin's takedown defense isn't the greatest, but her grappling is not too bad. I think she's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. And I think she can definitely get up to the feet. And she's got the better cardio here. The cardio is a big factor here for me, because Vivi, she starts to slow down. And when you're fighting girls like Roxanne, when you're fighting girls like Montana De La Rosa, yes, you can get away with gassing because they don't really offer that much on the feet. But when you have Chookagian, who's not just going to allow you to back her up against the fence and not throw anything back, she's going to throw back with good technique, with good accuracy, with good combinations, and a lot of good and just a lot more in terms of the striking ability than who she's faced so far. I get Vivi at dog odds. You want to take the shot, fine. But like, I like Chook here.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I think Vivi's definitely good. And I'm not saying Vivi can't win this fight. I can definitely see her winning this fight, but I feel like she has to win this fight for me to be like, okay, she's the real deal. She's got this. She can beat a striker, because yes, her striking is phenomenal. She's powerful. She's got fast hands, really, really fast hands, good movement, good jab, good 1-2 combo. Also throws a lot of volume, good head movement, good timing on counter hook shots. Like, she's She's a black belt herself in BJJ, but she's got good low kicks. She doesn't headhunt. So there's a lot to like about this girl. She's got good accuracy. A lot of things I have here, constantly stance switching. So I in my notes here, a lot of things I like about Vivi Araujo, but the things that I'm putting that I like, I need to see her do it against a good striker like Caitlin Chookagian before I can be like, okay, she's the real deal. She's got this. Because like these, just to me, these fights are not the fight that Caitlin's going to bring. I would be shocked if she was able. And Caitlin, I feel like she's definitely, like in her last fight, like she was completely underrated, like being the plus 200 dog to Cynthia Calvillo. Like, come on, all she had to do was stuff the takedowns and she was going to look like a minus 200 favorite. Like for sure, like that was a terrible line. But like she lost to Jessica Andrade, like body shot. Like, I mean,
yeah, that's one powerful. Thing that's one thing that did catch me by surprise, though, is I don't know what happened in that body shot. And I do know that in those first rounds, I know she does gas out, but Vivi does have decent power. If the body is a weakness, I don't think it is. I think that was just a one fluke thing, but you never know. Like that, she really was hurt by that hook to the body. It was pretty evident. And if Vivi wants to maybe exploit that and try to test her luck, maybe it'll be a bit closer, but I think this is Chookagian all day. Definitely the biggest step down in competition. Like she's fighting people like Calvillo, Andrade, Valentina, Maya Collarwood. Insane competition compared to what Vivi brings. And I agree. If Vivi wins this, I'll be on the hype train as well, but I have not boarded yet.
For sure. I just don't see how you like I just feel like there's just like when you're looking into fights, you just got to look at who they're fighting. And it's just, I get Vivi, I get that she's at dog odds, and what she's shown is like, if she can show what she's shown against Caitlin Chookagian, I think she wins the fight. But how can I be confident in that happening when I haven't seen her against a real striker? And this is now she's fighting like one of the better strikers in the division. So I think it should be a really good fight. I think there's going to be a lot of good technique. I do think Vivi is the real deal, but I'm not going off the assumption that she's going to go in there and be able to dominate, because she's able to pick her spots, right? Like she's able to decide when she attacks, and the counters are always there for her. Like Caitlin's not someone who's easy to strike with. Like she's a good striker. I feel like she's a little bit underrated here, even though she is the favorite. I'm surprised the line hasn't flipped, because I've seen everybody on Vivi Araujo here. Like everybody is on her, and you know, I'm going to stay away because I do think Vivi has the upside here. It's also crazy to me that Vivi's 34 years old. I feel like she's like way younger. She's older than Caitlin here. So that kind of shocked me a little bit, but I do think she's good. I think it'll be a good fight, competitive fight. To me, I think it'll be like really close. I feel like Caitlin's probably going to land more volume. She'll probably win the third round. The grappling, I see a lot of people saying, oh yeah, she could wrestle Caitlin here. Yeah, she could, but I don't think she's going to be able to hold her down. I think that's going to take a toll on her gas tank. So if she wants to mix it in, fine. But do I think she'll have success controlling her? Not really. So will it score a lot of points to the judges? I don't think so. But this should be a really high technical fight here, and I'm actually excited for this fight. It probably is the worser of the other 5 fights on the main card, but I'm excited for it. I think it'll be a really good high level technical fight. But the pick is going to be Caitlin by decision here for me.
Same here, and whereas it's not something I'd play a lot of in DraftKings, I don't think it's going to score very well, especially with no finish. The next one is the complete opposite. That Matt Schnell Bontorin fight, I've got my eye on it all day. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, so I've got some action on this fight as well. Matt Schnell, 31 years old, 5'8", 25. This is actually taking place at 35. So 5'8", 135, 70-inch reach versus Bontorin, who's 29, 5'5", with a 67-inch reach. So he's 3 inches taller, and he has a 3-inch reach advantage. Both guys are in around their prime years. Matt Schnell is 15-5. He's 5-3 in the 5-3 in the UFC thus far. He has got 2 wins by KO, 8 wins by sub, and 4 by decision. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted once, and lost by decision once. Bontorin coming back at him, 3 knockout wins himself, 11 submissions, 2 decisions, and he's got an even 1-1-1 across the board in terms of his losses. And he is 16-3, 2-2 in the UFC, currently on a 2-fight losing streak. So for me personally, I like Schnell. Here. But what I really like here is the fight doesn't go to decision or the under 2.5. I think that's the spot here. I taped this fight relatively late, which sucks because I'm pretty sure the under 2.5 opened like plus 155 and the fight doesn't go open at like plus 135, which would have been amazing. But where it is right now, minus 110, minus 115, or the under, I think is like plus money still. I think there's a lot of value there, a lot of value. Looking at the way these guys go, looking at the way these guys match up, like Schnell, obviously a little bit, like his biggest question is his chin, right? His chin, he's been knocked out 3 times, and the fight against Hector Sandoval was a really, really bad look for the guy. Getting knocked out by like a little baby hammer fist is, unless that guy's like some next power guy, which he isn't, because he's only got 4 knockout wins and he hasn't been in the UFC for however long. So that's a really bad look there. So he's definitely live to get KO'd. I think Bontorin throws some heat. He's also live to get subbed if Bontorin gets the takedown, gets the back. I think Schnell's BJJ, especially off his back, is very high level. But Bontorin is very good on the mat too. With that being said, I think Schnell might be live for the submission off his back and armbar, anything like that. And I think he's also live for the knockout here, man. Bontorin coming back 2 months after getting brutally knocked out by Cara France. Not a good look. If you get knocked out, you should take at least 6 months, in my opinion, maybe even more, depending on the severity. But I think he's coming back way too soon. The only thing that would concern me is Schnell being patient, like he kind of did against Tyson Nam, just playing the outside, landing the punches there. But if you think about it, like there was a lot of punches thrown in that fight, and now you have 2 guys who I think match up stylistically. It's just meant to be a finish here. I think it finishes at least 60% of the time here, especially with the fans in the arena. You got Matt Schnell and Bontorin. I feel like Bontorin can really like bring out like the violent Schnell, because one of the biggest knocks on Schnell's is his fight IQ, right? He gets in wars, especially like that Pantoja fight. Like, why are you getting into a brawl with a guy like Alexander Pantoja? And I like Schnell, man. I love his style. I really like the way he fights, and I love the way he fought his last fight. Very, very good technical fight, and that's my only concern. With the doesn't go, because I think our Schnell decision is definitely on the table. But if Bontorin wins, I don't think it's by decision, because he only lands just over 2 significant strikes per minute, so it's not very high volume. Schnell's going to be picking him apart, constantly fighting off his back. So I think Bontorin either gets the knockout with the chinny Schnell, or gets a takedown, gets his back, gets a sub. He's got 11 submissions himself. Schnell has been submitted before, so it's not out of the question. I think Schnell can even get a submission from his back. We've seen him do it before to high-level guys. And I think Schnell's live for the KO, especially considering Bontorin coming back so soon. And Schnell, like, he's only got 2 knockouts, but he throws decently hard. Like, yes, he's more of like a point fighter, but he steps into his punches sometimes. And I think at minus 115, I still think there's value. If you got on the under 2.5 at any plus money, I think there's value. I just like taking doesn't go to decisions, just because, I just don't. I've been burned before, just with like, in terms of like wanting to play something, or just seeing so many late 3rd round finishes just in general. So I feel more safe if it doesn't go. But the fact that the under open plus 155 is an absolute joke. If I taped this fight earlier, which I really wish I did, I would have definitely hopped on that. But I still think there's value where it is now, and I think that's the look from this spot. I think the line's relatively accurate. What do you got? What do you got with this fight?
I think the big thing is, why is Rogerio coming back after 2 months? That was a brutal knockout. Like, well, maybe it looked worse for me because I had money on the guy and it hurt a bit more, but it's not something you should be coming back for within 2 months. And I think that
give me a second.
You said
turn on my light. It's getting dark in here. Give me 1 sec.
No worries. See how we doing? The DraftKings looking. DeAndre Ayton rolled out.
All right, you're good.
All right, where was I? Okay, yeah. So he's coming back 2 months' notice. Horrible. But the thing is, you said the only way it goes to decision is if Schnell plays a patient fight. Whereas that's a possibility. I don't think there's a possibility at all of Rogerio playing a patient fight at all. I think that if Matt Schnell wants to stay away, keep his distance, Rogerio's going to come in, shoot a takedown, grab his back. I think Rogerio has underrated ground game. Not underrated because he has pretty high value, but he has an amazing ground game. Schnell's a decent one, but I'm so high on what Rogerio can do. Now, with that being said, if he gets the back for the full first round, if he dominates on the ground, he gasses out. The reason he lost that first fight was because he was tired, he let his hands low, and he lost and tried to swing with Cachoeira France, right? And whereas Matt Schnell does have low fight IQ, as you mentioned, he's got power and he's able to engage in those wars as well. And I think no matter what, someone's going down. They're both chinny. They're both available for subs. I think that this is just the perfect fight to get the crowd roaring on the main card and to cash an under for me. I'm all over the under. I got plus money on it. Not plus 140. I wish I got that. That's insane. But I think that it's going to be a firefight, great fight, and I'm completely torn. I think it's either going to be Rogerio by sub or Schnell by TKO, and I can't choose. I'm leaning Schnell, but I would not be surprised if Rogerio grabbed the back and choked him out.
Yeah, for sure. I think when you're looking for a doesn't go or an under, you want to compare each fighter's fighting ability. Can both of them finish the fight? How can they finish the fight? And I think they can each finish the fight in whatever way. I think they're all possibilities. I think KO, both of them, it's on the table. Sub, both of them is on the table as well. And yeah, I agree. I think the spot here, I think the line's about right. I think Bontorin, I think the line, if Bontorin gets to plus 167, which he's not going to, I feel like that might have been definitely a decent spot. But Rogerio inside the distance is not bad. I think it's around plus 300 because I do think that's his path to victory. I just don't see him winning a decision against Schnell. He doesn't throw as much volume. He could get control time, but Schnell isn't someone that's just going to sit there and just let you go. So I think if Bontorin gets the takedown, gets the back, I think he's definitely live for the sub. For sure. But I think this fight can finish in any way. I still think there's value on the line where it is. I would have loved it earlier on. But I definitely think this is a classic fight to get finished here. Both guys don't like decisions. They don't go to that many decisions. Schnell by decision is the possibility. That is what I'm afraid of. And that's honestly probably, in terms of will he finish, I think it's around 50-50. I think he wins the decision. If he wins, probably around half the time, and then KO and sub is relatively close. I think he can get a sub 30. If he wins 10 times, maybe around 2 times, and KO maybe around 3. But Bontorin, I don't see him winning a decision. So I definitely think there's value on this line at evens here. Again, I would have loved it earlier on, but I taped it late, which sucks, man. I got to get a card ahead so I can get on these lines earlier. But yeah, in terms of a pick, I like Schnell, and I like him by KO.
I think this is a great way to build your DraftKings fights around. I think this fight ends. It's up there, one of my core plays. I'm going to have him owned a lot. And I'm going to have mostly Schnell due to his... Because I think if he does get a finish, it will be in the later rounds. Or, I see that... The more I think about it, they do both have more paths to victory than it just shows. A lot of people are going to say Bontorin by sub or Schnell by TKO. But like you said, Schnell's okay on the ground. He has better cardio than Bontorin, in my opinion. Yes. He's got very good cardio, or better than Bontorin.
Yeah.
And he's able to clip the somewhat weak chin of Bontorin, especially coming after 2 months. If Rogerio wants to go for a takedown, he gets Derek Lewis uppercut doing it. There's no question that I don't think Rogerio can take that much damage. So if he wants to stand and trade with Schnell, I'd be more than happy to watch my ticket cash, because I think he's got his chin's not quite recovered yet. And whereas Schnell's chin isn't great, I still think that a weak chin on fully rested versus a weak chin with 2 months notice is just crazy. I don't know why he's back in there, but I'm more than happy to cash my under 2.5.
Yeah, agreed. Schnell also gets hit with that left hook. He kind of leaves his chin up out of combinations to a degree. And if we get the Schnell that fought against Pantoja, or we get the Schnell up until the Tyson Nam fight, you've got this fight finishes 65-70% of the time, because there's no way these guys are going 15 minutes with the way they fight, with the amount of paths to victories they have to get a finish, if they're going to be reckless in there. So again, to me, especially Bontorin coming off the KO just 2 months earlier, that's really not the smartest decision. I know he was really upset with the finish, so I feel like he's rushing this to get back in there and get the loss back, but I think he's going to get KO'd here. Or subbed, or he could get the sub, or he could get the KO. Whichever one happens, I'll take and hopefully cash the under. Yeah. So yeah, great fight here though. Great fight. All right,
We're
so
here.
we will move on down the card to Tony Ferguson taking on Beneil Dariush, and man, this is a great fight. Great fight. Really excited for this one. Tony Ferguson is 37 now, 37 years old, 5'11", 76-inch reach. He is 25-5. He's got 12 knockouts, 8 subs, 5 decisions. He's been knocked out once, subbed once, and lost decision 3 times. And he's 25-5, 15-3 in the UFC. Currently on that 2-fight losing streak though, and he's taking on another tough opponent in Beneil Dariush, who's 24-1. He's 14-4-1 in the UFC. So another guy that's been in the UFC for pretty much his whole career. He's on a 6-fight win streak here. One of the most underrated guys in the division too. I feel like he's only getting the recognition now. He's kind of been a dark horse throughout. But he's 32 years old. He's 5'10", 72-inch reach. 5 knockouts, 8 subs, 7 decisions. So he does it all. He's been knocked out 3 times, subbed once, and never lost a decision. So I know you got some action on this card, so I'll let you break it down and let me know who you got on this one.
See, this one hurts. I love Tony Ferguson, man, but I think this is the perfect spot for Beneil Dariush to come through and prove that he is a real menace in this division. We saw him not be able to. We saw him control, and I think maybe not dominantly, but really beat a high-level guy on the ground in CDF. And that fight really just solidified how much that I think he can be a real threat in this division because he's got all the tools. He's a great grappler. He's got okay cardio, and he's shown much improved striking. Like he's been a huge menace on the feet, and the fact that he was able to wrestle, take down, and control and avoid submissions from someone like a third-degree black belt like CDF, this guy could be a problem. And he's facing a guy in Tony Ferguson where it's all recency bias. It's the same guy. I know a lot of people who thought he would beat Khabib, and they're now picking him to lose to Dariush. It's all because of those last 2 fights. And this man, he was on a 12-fight win streak, and then he just gets in this absolute war and takes the biggest beating to Justin Gaethje, and he gets his chin destroyed. Maybe not his chin destroyed, but it was horrible.
His life, his soul, man. That was hard.
And whereas I love the guy, he did not look like the same fighter against Charles Oliveira, not at all. And he's one of those guys where I don't know. It's so hard for me to pick against him, but this is not his fight, I don't think. Especially if the same guy that came out and lost to Oliveira, because he got 30-27. He got beat pretty bad. And Beneil can do the exact same thing. I think that Beneil Dariush is a slightly, maybe not as good on the ground, but a very similar fighter in terms of, okay, he has been knocked out before, but he's got great stand-up, great ground game as well. And if we see the alternative for Tony Ferguson, who's going to throw those weird elbows, throw those crazy kicks, those be super mobile and be the guy that we all fell in love with him for, then yeah, he's a lot better chance. But he just didn't look the same as last few fights, and for that reason, I'm all over Beneil Dariush. I got 3 units on him at -150, which hurts me to say, but it's his fight to win. He's hungrier. He wants to get to the top. He's got all the tools to do it, and I think he's going to get it done this weekend. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with you, man. A lot of good points you made. I agree with pretty much everything you said. See, this is an example that I find where if this fight was 2 fights ago, you have a guy like Tony Ferguson against Beneil Dariush. Ferguson's definitely going to be a moderately decent-sized favorite here. But those last 2 fights, it's just so hard to pick them, man. Not even like, and yes, he's fighting obviously Gaethje and Oliveira, who are 2 of the top lightweights in the division. But like Beneil is up there, man. Beneil is super good, and Ferguson just doesn't look the same. It's hard. Ferguson, obviously, I think we all love Tony Ferguson, just the way this guy acts. I personally thought he has been a little bit overrated, personally, but obviously he's still an amazing fighter. It's just like Beneil has such a clear path to victory here if he uses the wrestling. If he is, I would really want him to use the wrestling. Kind of just use the blueprint Charles Oliveira did. Take him down, outwork him. I think that's the path to victory here. The only thing that on the feet, I think it will be relatively closer. I think Beneil might be the better striker now, but Ferguson does throw a lot of output, and Beneil is definitely susceptible to being hit. His striking defense is very, very meh. So I think Ferguson's definitely could be live for a knockout if he clips him. And I know you're on Beneil, so I obviously want you to cash that ticket, but I really hope he does it in like a super, super, super close fight where Ferguson just looks like solid in there. Because man, if he loses this fight, like he's done, man. Because although as much as I love Beneil Dariush, like Tony's not going to want to be a guy who's going to want to be a gatekeeper. Like that's not Tony Ferguson. So he's going to want to be fighting the best of the best. And if he can't get past Beneil Dariush, I'm not saying Beneil Dariush is bad at all, but in terms of like the top lightweights right now, like when we have Oliveira, Poirier, Chandler, Connor, Gaethje, all those guys, like I feel like Beneil is definitely a bit worse than those guys, even a guy like Islam. So it hurts me. I think Beneil wins too. I do think Beneil is getting a little bit overrated, and if we look at the line, he's all the way up to, where's this line? Like minus 175, minus 185 in some places. Like that's too steep. That's definitely too steep. If Tony, on the books that I have available to, like they're only like plus 140. But it's just it's tough, man, because Tony, I feel like there is some value on him, but even if he shows up, I feel like that. It pains me to talk about this, man, because I love Tony. We all love Tony. He's super tough, man. Like he never quits on himself. He adjusts well during fights, but I think Gaethje just ended him, man. The amount of damage, 143 significant strikes, but like significant strikes. Like he was getting bad, man. And it's tough. I don't think Beneil finishes him. Beneil by decision is a decent look because Tony's super, super tough. And if Gaethje's not like, Gaethje finished him, but he didn't finish him. You know what I mean? Like the ref had to stop it. So he didn't like put him out or anything like that. And obviously Oliveira didn't finish him, who's obviously we know is a super big finisher. So I don't think he finishes him on the ground either. But if Beneil on the feet, I think he can play it a little bit closer. Definitely closer than the line indicates. But Beneil just has minus 233 and higher upside here. If he uses the wrestling, controls Tony on the mat, basically does exactly what Oliveira just did. Like the blueprint is there. And, Ferguson, obviously, I think Ferguson said in an interview that he only had, I think, like 5 hours of BJJ training for Oliveira, which is, if that's true, like I would expect what to happen. So it's tough to pick Tony here, man, but he's kind of getting a little bit disrespected here at this line, like plus 155. Like that's too wide. So I'm not personally betting this fight. But it's tough, man. It's just because on the feet, I think Ferguson is live, man. He's got off the charts cardio. Beneil is someone who has shown relatively decent cardio problems in the past. And it's like, yes, Beneil's on the 6-fight win streak, but Beneil's had to overcome some serious adversity. Like he hasn't like ran through these 6 opponents, right? Like the Jacare close fight is a great example. Like that's a fight where he could have lost that. Yeah, he could have lost that, man. I feel like once they got into like that exchange, he definitely could have lost that fight if he was the one that got clipped. Diego Ferreira, that was a good win. I don't know why that's not a split at all. That was a good win though. And if he just does similar to that, man, and if he's willing to take down a guy like Diego Ferreira, when I felt like he had the advantage on the feet personally, that just shows that he's comfortable with his wrestling. He's comfortable with his jiu-jitsu, and I think he can control Ferguson for 15 minutes and win a decision here. I really hope Ferguson comes to fight, man. But I feel if Benny uses that wrestling, like there's not going to be much he can do. Like his jiu-jitsu is not bad, but his takedown defense isn't the greatest. And I feel like Beneil, I mean, minus 150. I feel like around there, minus 150 or better. I would play Beneil now. But again, I just Maybe not, because I have a feeling that maybe Tony turns back the clock here and shows us something, but it's hard to pick him here. It's hard to bet him here for sure, because from what we've seen, like, he's just been dominated, man. He's been 8 straight rounds of pure domination. And if you look at the stats in the Gaethje fight, like, he actually only landed 7 significant strikes less than Gaethje, which was really surprising to me. But so that just shows his volume is still there and he can put it on. But I just feel that Beneil, like you said, man, Beneil's ready for this, man. Like, he's been waiting for this. This is a big step in a guy in Tony Ferguson that catapults him into that top 5, that catapults him into that title contention picture there if he gets another win. So I feel like he's ready for this. He's ready for this fight. He's got a good game plan. I feel if he uses the wrestling, he'll win this fight. On the feet, I think it'll be closer to where to more like minus like 135, minus 150 range for Benny, because I think Ferguson's a danger in the feet. But if he uses what Oliveira basically did in the last fight, I think he wins this fight quite comfortably, and I don't think you got to sweat the ticket. But
see, this just shows that you're a lot more optimistic than me, because you think that they can turn back the clock, and you see that with Souza, you see that with Ferguson, but it's tough when you suffer a beating like that. It's tough to come back to the fighter he used to be. Like, I don't think Ferguson's the same fighter he used to be, unfortunately. I agree with that. And I would love to see him win. I love Ferguson. Beneil Dariush has a clear path to victory on the ground, hold his own on the feet, and I think it's his fight to lose at this point. Huge DraftKings play, though, both of them. I'm going to be pretty heavily owned, because I think Dariush is a core play of mine. But nope, I think he gets it done.
Yeah, I agree. I think if he uses that wrestling, he does. And I just feel like this one, compared to the Souza one, I feel like we see a different Ferguson. Like, we see a different Ferguson, especially in the Oliveira fight. Like, he really had no answer. And on the Gaethje fight, like, when you take that bad of a beating, like, it just takes so much out of you, man. So much. So I like Benny here. Where the line is now, I don't think it's playable. Benny by decision is not a bad look, though. Not a bad look at all.
I'm happy with my spot at minus 150. I don't think I'd play it at minus 180.
Yeah, I like that. All right, so we are here. We are running almost 2 hours deep. A lot of just love talking about these fights, man. Super fun. But we'll try to, and this one might take some time as well, but love it, man. So
main event, baby.
Main event. Let's break it down. And I got some plays on this one. So we got Charles Oliveira taking on Michael Chandler. Charles Oliveira, 31 years old, 5'10", 155, 74-inch reach. He's 30 wins, 8 losses, 8 by knockout, 19 by submission, 3 by decision, 4 knockout losses, 3 submission losses, and 1 decision loss. So in 38 professional fights, he's gone the distance 4 times. He is 18-8 in the UFC, and he is obviously riding that 8-fight win streak. Now he's taking on Michael Chandler, 22-5, 1-0 in the UFC so far, running a 3-fight winning streak. He is only 5'8", so he'll be 2 inches shorter and a 71-inch reach. 10 knockouts, 7 submissions, 5 decisions. Knocked out 3 times, never been submitted, and lost by decision twice. So from a side, I'm just going to start off from a side perspective. I'm split, man. I see a lot of strong opinions, both sides. I see a lot of people saying Chandler's going to go out there and smoke him. I see a lot of people saying Oliveira's going to go out there and smoke him. I'm neutral. I can't pick a side here. I think it could go either way in this one. What do you think from a side perspective?
I originally was on the Oliveira side, but I flipped. It's a tough one, though. I'm not picking a side. I wouldn't bet on this one because they go either way. But a lot of Oliveira's finishes are by sub, and I don't see him subbing Chandler. I don't see him. A lot of Chandler's a lot of his losses have been, or he's been lost 5 times, but they've been knockout losses. And I don't see him knocking him out, really. So it's got to go to Chandler, in my opinion. I think Chandler's going to swarm him. Maybe it'll last a couple rounds of him stuffing a few takedowns, maybe taking him down himself, but I think it's going to be a swarm by Chandler, Dan Hooker style, and knocking him out, which is crazy. I never expected myself to say that, especially looking how dominant Oliveira was over Ferguson. But this is a tough matchup for Oliveira, especially someone who's so good on the ground to face a wrestler like Chandler and someone who's never been submitted and who's got a great fight IQ. It's not something that I see going well for Oliveira. I'm so close though, because you don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my gut and go Chandler on this one. I'm gonna take him by TKO. But it's a close one. It's tough. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I keep flipping, but I do lean Chandler, and the reason that I lean Chandler is the pressure. I feel like the pressure is just going to be a lot. Do I think it'll go like the Dan Hooker fight? Not entirely. I don't feel like Oliveira is going to be just on the outside. I feel like Oliveira is great forward pressure as well. I feel like he'll come back. But I feel like this fight is just completely action-packed. Like, if you look at their styles, like, Oliveira is a guy who doesn't go to the cards. Chandler is a guy who doesn't go to the cards. I mean, he has gone to the cards, but in terms of this style of a fight against a guy like Oliveira, both guys who are going to want to go forward, not going to want to be on the back foot, it's just destined for violence here. And, Oliveira's been KO'd 4 times. Chandler's got some crazy power, man. Very fast hands, good power and accuracy in his hands, good kicks, lots of movement, always bouncing. If this fight gets extended, I am gonna favor Oliveira. I feel like Chandler does. Yeah, I feel like Chandler gasses more than Oliveira does. I feel like you can see it in the way he fights. He loses his bounce, he loses his explosiveness, and Oliveira is a guy that, yes, he's known for his submissions. Of course, he's got the most submissions in UFC history. But this guy's striking is elite. I'm putting it up there. He has, from where I watched some of his earlier fights, and his striking improvements have been phenomenal. Like, he has got great timing. He's got good length, good jabs, good kicks, 1-2s. Good front kicks to the body. He throws like flying knees and stuff and things like that. His striking defense isn't the best, and when he does get tired, it starts to get worse. But Chandler, to me, visibly gasses. You can see based on his movement, right? This is a guy that bounces up and down in the center of the cage, and then when he starts to get tired, he gasses, and he's not as explosive. Now, if this fight hits the mat, I feel like it'll definitely be Chandler taking down Oliveira. I don't really see Oliveira taking down Chandler. Because Chandler's got great takedown defense, obviously a big wrestling background, and I feel like he'll bounce back up right away if he has to. So I feel like Chandler's going to be the one taking the fight to the ground if that's the route he tries to play. And we've seen in the past, with the Felder fight, that Oliveira kind of just like gives up. But I'm not really buying into this narrative that Oliveira's like a quitter, or when things get tough he quits, because, man, the guy has matured. Like, he knows what's at stake here. This guy that's been in the UFC since he was 20 years old. He knows he's just going to give up in this fight. Especially, he's not going to want to. He's ready. You can tell by his body language. You can tell by the way he talks in interviews. And, man, he's ready to go. He's not going to quit for anything here. But I just feel that he's going to be the one on the back foot. And I feel like Chandler's going to clip him, man, round 1. I feel like Chandler's going to clip him round 1. But would I be surprised if Oliveira clipped him? No, for sure. Whatever happens, man, I think this fight ends early. And I'm telling you right now, I'm on the under 2.5, 1.5 units at -138. I love that spot. It's my favorite play on the card. I was actually thinking, because I placed it yesterday or a couple days ago, and man, like I really wanted to put it more. It was yesterday. What am I saying? It was yesterday, and I woke up this morning. I'm like, I want to play this more, and it already got seamed to like -170, because that's to me, that's the sharper spot on the card, man. The under 2.5 at like -138, man, because we have 10.5 minutes here of just pure violence. 12 and a half minutes, man. Why do I say 10.5 minutes? 12.5 minutes in this one for a finish to materialize, and just their styles. Both guys made their prediction. Both guys think they're getting the win in the first round. Like, I can just see it. Chandler's going to come out, get aggressive, hands up. The crowd's going to be pumped up. They're going to be so filled with adrenaline. And the thing is, as soon as Chandler starts pressuring Oliveira, he's going to come right back at him with a knee, with an elbow, with a punch. He's not just going to like let Chandler tee off on him. So I definitely think this fight is destined for violence, and I definitely think it finishes within 2 rounds. And I'm going to get to my second play. So that I have 1.5 units at -138 on that one, and I actually have a parlay here, the under 4.5 with the Pickett right under 2.5 at +110 for a unit. And the reason I'm taking that is because the right, this is a spot where I see that where the parlay has value, because this is a spot where the right Pickett is -163, right? That what I can get it at under 2.5. And yes, I think that fight finishes, but I don't really want to put 1.6 units or 1.75 units to win a unit here. I just don't want to risk that much, because there's something in the back of my head that says maybe this could actually end up going higher. But so by parlaying it with the under 4.5, I got +110, and to me that should be capped around 80% of the time. Like, this fight is not going 4 rounds, 4.5 rounds. I don't see it, man. Like, obviously, I didn't see Dawkins getting gassed before Haas did. But
bringing that back.
I gotta play what I see, and I just the way they match up. That if it gets extended past the 2.5 round mark, and both guys start to slow down, I might get a little bit more nervous. But to me, I just see this fight's ending in the first or second round. Like, just I can see it, man. They're both going to be so pumped up. They're both going to want to get the finish. They're both dangerous everywhere the fight goes. Oliveira obviously super dangerous for a sub. Chandler's even dangerous for a guillotine. If Oliveira goes in for a takedown, if he wants to mix it in, Chandler's got a decent guillotine on him. He could definitely get a finish there.
A big thing too is both these fighters have been finished before. It's not like they're like iron chinned. Like, it's not like you're taking two fighters who know they're getting knocked out. Like, there's a good chance that one of them goes to sleep here.
Yeah, like Oliveira's chin is a big question mark. Chandler's chin is a big question mark. Like when Chandler got knocked out by Pitbull, like, I know Pitbull's an amazing fighter, but the guy's not really known for his knockout power, and he's a featherweight, right? So, but decent, not the greatest look there. But I just feel like the way they match up and the way they fight is just destined for violence. And I think Oliveira can knock out Chandler just as much as Chandler can knock out Oliveira. I'm really high on Oliveira's striking. I think it's very much improved. I think he's very accurate with it. We saw glimpses of it against Ferguson on the feet. And, I just feel like this fight's destined to be finished. Both guys want to go on there, make a statement, take the vacant belt. I love the under 2.5 at -138. Love that spot. The parlay at the under 4.5 to make the right Pickett under 2.5 cheaper. I love that a bunch. Because at the end of the day, I win more, and as long as that fight goes under 4.5, I win more or I lose less, and I'm definitely willing to take that risk at a fight that I cap honestly around 80%. I think I got it at like the -330 price tag or something like that, which is some decent, which is an edge there. So yeah, I'm gonna go Chandler first round KO. I can see Oliveira first round KO. If the fight goes past the first round, Man, I honestly think if the fight goes longer, this is Oliveira's fight. I might be in the minority. But I think once Chandler stops bouncing and like moving around and things like that, and Oliveira's the one, I think Oliveira might start to go forward, and Oliveira going forward is dangerous. And then that's where Chandler might start, if he gets tired quick, if he has like an adrenaline dump or something, I feel like, and he does like a dumb shot, like I feel like Oliveira may be able to wrap up a guillotine or something. I don't really know. Honestly, this fight could go either way, man. But I definitely think the finish materializes within 2.5 rounds. I love that spot. And it's a
great DraftKings spot, because it's this fight where you expect it to finish, and even if it doesn't, it's 5 rounds. And there's going to be a lot of volume, a lot of takedowns, I think. But it's a spot where I'm almost 100% on. I think it would be around 95% on the way I'm doing things so far.
Are you splitting it?
Great fight. I'm gonna lean. I'm gonna do 95% and take the
50-45.
50-45. Yep.
Yeah.
And actually, I might do a bit more because Chandler does have that cheaper price tag. There's some reason he's much cheaper on DraftKings. So even though I'm not really looking for value that much, he is cheaper. I can take someone like. I think the main lineup I'm going with right now. Yeah. I like it, and that's something we'll talk about either tomorrow or Saturday. I think we're doing another stream. We'll talk about the weigh-ins. We'll talk about our DraftKings spots. We'll do a quick little breakdown. Won't be 2 hours long, But no, there's so many options for DraftKings. It's not one where 50 people are going to split the first place prize. It's going to be a great night. We'll be looking forward to all these fights, and no, I'm excited.
Yeah, man. All right, so that's pretty much the card. I guess close out the stream. We're gonna go over our bets. If you had to bet the fight, where you would bet it in terms of what the value side is, and then most confident picks and biggest dogs, and that'll be it from us. So starting off with my bets. So I've got starting off with my bets here. I'll just bring up my bet MMA. So I got Jacare Souza at -110 for 0.55 units. Again, I would go heavier on that because I do think Jacare is better everywhere, and I think this is a great fight for him. But if he is shot, I'm going to be a little bit safer here, but I do think he gets it done. I have a Bontorin and Schnell if it doesn't go to decision at -115 for 1.15 units. Again, really messed up the line in terms of not being able to get on a quicker because I taped it later, which sucks. But I still think there's value from where the line is now. I really think this fight is both guys can finish in any way they want. And I like to spot a bunch. KO at +600 for a quarter unit. Again, if she's at +175 now, I think her path to victory is by a KO. Mazany doesn't like to be hit. She curls up like a ball. I like that spot for Cachoeira at that price tag. But I wouldn't be surprised if Mazany goes in there and gets the finish or gets a decision. My favorite spot on the card, Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler, under 2.5 rounds, -138 for 1.5 units. Honestly, man, that's I think it's up to like -220 now on some books. Like that's just the best spot on the card in my opinion. I think this is a violent night in the main event. The way they match up, the way their styles are, how hungry both of them are. The fans, it's just it's gonna be. I can't wait to see who goes down first. And then the last play I have is Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler under 4.5 rounds. Parlayed with Jordan Wright and Jamie Pickett under 2.5 rounds at +110 for a unit. This is probably my most confident. I'm probably about like around 80% that this fight goes under 4.5 rounds. So I just put that with the under 2.5 for Wright and Pickett to up the value on the Wright Pickett, because if this one hits, like I think it will, then for my Wright and Pickett under, if I lose less. If I win more. So to me, I think that's a good little cheeky parlay add value spot here. But those are my 5 plays for the night. What you got?
Oh, definitely got more than you. I got a big night ahead of me. So I got my big bet of the night is 3 units. Oh yeah, 3 units on Dariush at -150. I then got 2.5 units on Grundy at -125. I then have the Wright and Pickett under 2.5. I got 1.6 units to win 1. And then my favorite line of the night, I don't think it should be this wide, but I got Mazany and Cachoeira under 2.5 for +175. I think that's pretty wide, and they both could finish here, especially if Mazany curls up on a ball and doesn't like to get punished. I got Bontorin and Schnell under 2.5 at +100, and then I got Muniz inside the distance at +240 for half a unit. And then from there, I'm still looking at Burgos.
That was about.
I have a couple of round 3 shots as well, but that's where I'm going. A lot of my night relies around Dariush, and I think he gets it done. So I can't wait to watch the fights. It'll be great. Big DFS night too. I got a lot of core plays that we'll go over in the next couple days. Still building some lineups there, but yeah, Twitter's always open too if you guys want to know more about my DFS angles. I'm playing some basketball right now, and I think it's not going too good. I think Sabonis got hurt or something today, so I don't know. My phone's been blowing up with people asking like, "Oh no, what do we do?" So yeah, I gotta go check that in a bit. But those are my plays for the day. I'm pretty happy with all the spots I got. Like to go head to head with you in some predictions too, so that's pretty good. But yeah.
Yeah, I like your plays, man. I think Beneil should hit. The Grundy one could hit, man. For sure. Your under, I like your under a bunch. And I like your Schnell, Bontorin. Obviously, we're on the same one, and the Pickett one, we're on the same one as well. So hopefully those ones cash for us. So now we'll just quickly run through if you had to play the fight, what you would play in terms of Giagos Soriano, man. Like, I don't know. Like I really don't. Like the under could be live. the fight doesn't. If I had to play, I may play the fight doesn't go to decision if I had to, just because Soriano has, he could finish. Both guys have been finished more times than not in their losses. So I think that's probably the spot if I had to, but please stay away from this fight, honestly.
Yeah. Only thing I could look at would be Soriano round 3 because Giagos does gas out. Soriano round 3 or Giagos by sub. I don't see it happening any other way.
Yep. Aguilar and Lutz. Again, it could. I don't really know, man. These are fights. Yeah, I probably, if I had to play, probably just Lutz straight for small, just because I think he's better.
Yeah, I figure against me.
But I'm honestly got nothing there, man.
Ooh. I like Aguilar here. I still don't have the line that I want, so I'm not going to play it. But I do think Aguilar's a side personally. I think he can get it done probably by decision. But if anything, I would just play his money line.
Yeah. Mazany versus Cachoeira. I'm obviously on the Cachoeira by KO. I think that's the most value, and I think you also have. Yeah, I think we've got the value spots here for you guys. If you want to play this fight, please don't play Gina Mazany at -210. And if you're going to play Priscilla Cachoeira, in my opinion, it's better to just take the KO prop, get some extra juice on that. I don't think she wins a decision. I don't think she wins the submission. So under 2.5 or Cachoeira by knockout, I definitely think are the spots here. Moving on, we've got Lee and Shevchenko. Honestly, if you had to bet, I would probably play Lee. I'd probably play her by what's her decision? Because I feel like this fight's definitely going to the card. -425 over 2.5 rounds. Crazy. Lee by decision. Oh, I don't know what just happened. But anyways, I probably play
Lee by decision at +175.
Lee by decision at +175?
Yes.
Oh, I might actually look into that. I didn't know it was that wide. Shevchenko wins by decision +130. I might play that.
Yeah. I'm on the Shevchenko side, so I wouldn't that much. But if you're going for Lee, it's probably going to be by decision. I don't think it's going to be a sub or KO or anything. So
I definitely think this fight hits the cards. Yeah, I might actually look into that. I very well might look into that. So yeah, for me, I would go Lee by decision. Getting +175 instead of like -105 is definitely value for me. Lee's not a finisher. So yeah, like that. Pickett Wright, I think the under 2.5 is the spot here if you guys have it available to you. If you don't, Pickett by KO is interesting. +200, decent look. The fight doesn't go, I feel, is too wide at -240. I don't think that's a smart play. But yeah, if you have the under 2.5, I'd say go for that. You can. I definitely think you can still play straight up -163 or whatever it's at right now. I think that's good value. Honestly, for a fight that I think probably closer to like 70, high 60s percent of the time goes under 2.5 rounds. For me personally, I just parlayed it with the Chandler Oliveira just to get extra value on that. So I love that play there. You're on the same thing, so I'm assuming that's your best bet as well. Grundy Lando. If you're with Gordo,
Grundy money line's where it's at.
Go on Grundy. For me, like there's nothing for me personally. If you're gonna pick anything, I'd say Lando. But like, just I don't have a strong read on this fight personally. So if you liked what Gordo was saying, hop on the Grundy train. -125 is still available, so get on that. In terms of Jacare and Muniz, Jacare is the side here for me.
Either take his money line or you take Muniz aside the distance if his chin shot. I think we're on the two only possible sides. I don't think Muniz wins a decision. So
for sure. Burgos and Barboza. I'll be looking heavily at Burgos. I still think at -140 there is some value because it might be a little bit too wide now because I did cap it relatively close, but the more I look into the fight and rewatching, like this is Burgos' fight, man. Just the way he fights, unless he gets caught, which I think he probably gets hit, but I think he can take it personally. So Burgos is the side here. I think we both might end up on it eventually if we feel like it, but I think that's the side. And this one, Chookagian and Viviani. I think the line's accurate. Caitlin by decision is probably where I'd be at if I had to bet the fight, just because I think you can get that close to evens. And I think she wins. She's not going to finish Viviani. So killing by decision is not a horrible look, personally.
Plus 105.
Plus 105. I might actually be looking at that, but no, because if Viviani is legit, I think she probably wins. So I'm probably going to stay away from this fight. Yeah, your thoughts?
I'm not touching it at all.
Oh, yeah, you got the big X through it. You got the big X.
Nothing happening. I'm just gonna listen to her play tennis or whatever she's screaming and doing for a full 15 minutes, and we'll see what happens.
We got Schnell and Bontorin. I think the fight doesn't go is definitely the side here, especially since it's at 135. I feel like both guys are gonna have more power, potentially, not cutting as much weight. So I think the doesn't go or the under is the side here for sure. Still. And you got the bet on it, so assuming it's the same for you as well. Ferguson, Beneil. Honestly, Beneil's the side. Beneil by decision is probably your best bet where the line is now.
Where's that at? I didn't look at that one. I think it's dangerous, so I'm not touching it. I'm just gonna take the money line. But Beneil by decision is plus 137.
Yeah. If you're gonna have to play, that's where I'd go. If you got on Beneil minus 150 or better, I think it's a good spot. So. But as the word the line is right now, I think Benny by decision is the spot if you have to play it. And then Chandler Oliveira under 2.5, most confident play on the card. Really like that spot. Really like that spot. Even where it is now, like it's still wide, but I just really see this fight because like for me, I cap the fight doesn't go at 80%. Now, what's the likelihood that it finishes in the third, fourth round? Right, I feel like the finish is way more live at the beginning. So for me personally, I like this fight to end of the first round or the second round. I feel like the Chandler by KO in round 1 prop is not bad. It's probably gonna be like plus like 700 or something like that. So those are all decent like small spots if you want to play it, but under 2.5 is the motive for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not picking a side. I might parlay the under 4.5 with another play I have next week, but we'll go over that next time we do a live, which is probably there tomorrow or Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, so in terms of the most livest dogs, Chandler, Bontorin is relatively live, Viviani is relatively live, Cachoeira is relatively live. There's a lot of live dogs this week.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why it's so easy to make DraftKings lineups. It's wild.
Yeah, Cachoeira is live. I feel like everyone here is honestly live.
Pickett is even money, so he's not a dog, but like so many spots here where you can create great DraftKings lineups. I know we'll be going them soon. I've got my 150 entries maxed out, so we're good to go.
And then just to close it out, what are your 3 most confident picks on the card?
Oh, I got my I like my Dariush, I like my Grundy, but I really like the under in the Wright Pickett fight. That's my go-to. Those are my 3 more confident, but my favorite bet is going to be the Cachoeira Mazany under because I don't think it should be that wide. But most confident, I got Beneil. I guess Grundy. I'm not as confident as the under 2.5 and the under in the Oliveira fight, but definitely Dariush.
Yeah. For me, from a side perspective, from a side perspective, I would probably say, man, there's so many close fights. Man, like I'm struggling. I feel like I have a bunch of close ones. I'd probably say Beneil as one of them for sure. As much as that hurts, but realistically, that's probably the way it goes. Man, I like everything's just super duper close for me. Probably Jacare Souza is one of my most confident picks, as long as he's not shot. And probably on the side of probably Christos Giagos, just because I think he can probably get it done. But the line's way too wide. But yeah, really tough card, really exciting card. Really excited to build my lineups. Probably do that today or tomorrow.
First time your DraftKings virginity out the window.
First time.
I've made a lot of my money on DraftKings. I owe a lot to it, especially NBA, the NHL, NFL. So if any of you guys want to get into DraftKings for the first time, hit me up. I can help you guys with that. But no, I love it. Post it every day on my account on Twitter. And I'll definitely have some fun building some lineups for this weekend's card. There's going to be so much variety because there's so many value spots. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. So yeah, that's going to do it, guys. 2 hours, 24 minutes strong. Love talking fights, getting better every single card, starting off pretty new in the game in terms of betting. So going to hopefully keep trying to improve the lives, keep getting the content out. I'm probably going to try to get a little bit more content out, especially since it's the summertime. I got more time just on like fights I'm interested in, or maybe a bunch of different things, some DraftKings, dog spots, a bunch of different stuff coming out, and hopefully just get better at the lives in general and get better at the fight game, predicting fights. Feel like it's improving every single week. But yeah, man, just thanks for coming on again. Pleasure having you.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So that's going to be it, guys. If you're watching this, please make sure to leave the video a like, subscribe if you like the content. And yeah, that'll do it. Hope you guys have a good night, day, whenever you're watching this, and peace.
Adios.